Sorry. Uh, so Batman, DC's crown jewel, has been under the stewardship of Chip Zdarsky and George Jimenez for the last couple of years now, as they have been charged with telling stories about the Cape Crusader. But all good things or mid things or whatever you want to call it must come to an end. And Chip Zdarsky's Batman run appears to be on the road to wrapping up. But what will follow it? That has been a major question on the minds of people who enjoy and don't enjoy the run that Chip has been having. And Rich Johnston of Bleeding Cool once again swoops in to maybe break the news that everybody wants to know. Who is the next creative team behind Batman? Well, if you believe Rich Johnson, the answer is looking backwards to none other than the creative team behind Hush, Jeff Loeb, and yes, Jim MF Lee.
Holy shit.
I love when Marco gets surprised at news.
I thought he was be like looking backwards. I'm like, oh, we're going back to Tom King? Damn, he's got Wonder Woman, he's gonna get everything.
Further, my man.
I would just like to point out that the thumbnail, the thumbnail of this video includes Jim Lee in it. The title of the video says Jeff Loeb and Jim Lee, and one of the people who was on the show didn't know what names I was going to say.
In the show notes before the show, he also gave his little emoji.
I know. I'm playing it up for laughs.
And this has been out probably since last Saturday when we did the show.
I'm playing it up. I'm doing a bit.
I don't believe you.
Who's Jim Lee?
I've heard that
before.
before.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. We've got a lot to talk about on that front. I am very excited to have this conversation, and we've got a lot more planned as well. Full house on deck today. We have Cale.
What's up, hush puppies?
Ooh.
Marco.
Jeff who?
Tyler.
I'm not even doing a bit. When I go last, I just have no room for bits at this point. Let's get the show going.
I go last. And I'm Sean.
That's the motto of the show. I go last and I'm Sean.
Right. Thank you guys for joining us. Whether you are live or in the future, make sure you smash that like button. Let's get started with this Saturday morning, or, you know, whatever time it is in your land. Let's get started off on a great note, because we've got a lot to talk about, as I said. Up front, though, I want to say that we've got a scheduling change for next week, because
Bless you. Oh, bless you.
nice pregnant pause there, because the Comics Pals will be going to New York Comic Con all next week. From Thursday to Sunday, we will be in the building, the big old Jacob Javits building. And so what that means for you guys is we're going to be putting out all kinds of great stuff. But Wednesday is when we will be doing Pals Pulls. So this Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern for Pals Pulls. Not Thursday, Wednesday. And then next week, probably Sunday, is when we'll be able to do the main show. Sunday at some point later in the day. We'll keep you posted on the exact time, but I just wanted to make sure that we say that before we get into the meat of the show, so you guys know what's up.
Antet wants to know if we're going to be putting out videos on the Comic-Con. He'd love to see our experience. He's never been. My man, have we got a YouTube channel for you?
Stay tuned.
Yeah, we are usually making videos and recording them, editing them, and releasing them same time during the weekend, and then maybe a little bit of a drip feed throughout the week.
Yeah.
Just depends on how much we get access to.
All
this
volume.
Year. Yeah.
We're keeping you guys fed. That's the goal. Ganthet says, can you please try to get something with Jeff Johns? Maybe.
Hey, listen, we can try.
We'll be saying hi at least.
Yeah. Anthony, I know you're newer around here. It wouldn't be the first time. We've had Jeff Johns on the show 3 times now. So if you didn't know that, there's a lot of stuff you could be watching. All right, let's get into the topic at hand. A bunch of you have joined us already, which I'm happy to see. Getting in early. Let's talk Batman. So, look, Chip Zdarsky and George Jimenez's run, to me, has been mixed good. It's been mixed, but largely I've enjoyed it a lot. The art's stellar when we actually have Jimenez on the book. And the writing, I've enjoyed it. I mean, I would say about every other arc is a banger. And then we got the first arc, which was strong, and then we got the like Bruce in a weird Gotham, the alternate Gotham.
Yeah, with the red mask guy who was like a Joker that could have been,
which was bizarre. Then we got, whatever was after that. Then we got Gotham War, and that was, we all know how we feel about that. So it's been uneven, is the point. And for me, I've enjoyed it for the most part, but I am looking forward to seeing what's next.
Yeah, the highs of Chip's Batman run outweigh the lows for me. But it is very much it's like a wave pattern. It's like, whoa, this is really good. Okay, New York. Oh, this is really good. Oh, New York.
Distinct peaks and valleys.
Yeah, and it's not even like the art's fault either. Like, sure, it's not Jorge Jimenez, which it's hard to be. But also, like, some of the storyline, it's like, all right, Chip is leaning into some of the characters that he introduced in The Night, which was like a Batman run that I didn't read, like a side book. So then it's interesting. It's playing with characters that I just don't have any real foot in. So I'm just not interested.
Yeah, and I feel like when you get press and when you get buzz, that kind of permeates throughout. And I feel like the run hasn't really lived up to that, and that's not to denigrate. Some books just have more heat. That's fine.
Hey, Comics Are Dope says, yes, more Hush. But why are you not here? If you are, watching us live, why are you not here with us?
It's like when Marco can't make the show, but he's in the chat.
Like damn, dog, just ask for the link.
It's crazy, man. So the run looks like it's gonna be at its end, and Rich Johnston broke the seal and provided a scoop, what he is calling a scoop, about the next creative team for Batman. So I'm going to refer to his article now. And before the comments come in, just to beat them to the punch, I don't care what you think about Bleeding Cool. I don't care what you think about Rich. Largely, they're accurate. They bust the door wide open on Absolute, which it was weird to watch people say, oh, that's bullshit. That's not happening. It's just Rich making more stuff up, when we literally heard from a person who would know that it was happening at Comic-Con. And lo and behold, we're living in a post-Absolute world. So with all that said, you can take this with a grain of salt if you want to. I give Rich Johnson a lot of leeway because they're generally right. So this is what Rich said. Earlier today, I mentioned that the current Batman comic book by Chip Zdarsky was meant to be released every 2 weeks. Then it wasn't, and it has been pushed out to every month again, which is true. There's been wonkiness with the scheduling behind Batman. Now it's going to be delayed. But what comes next, and why the change in schedules? Well, the headline of this article should have filled you in. The Batman Hush team of Jim Lee and Jeff Loeb are returning to the ongoing Batman book next year, in March or April of 2025. They were originally expected to return in November, December, hence the increased schedule for Chip's run to get it out the door. Then schedules changed again. Now, for context, we talked on this show about the fact that Batman was going to be going bi-weekly throughout the rest of the year, and we didn't know exactly why. Some of us suggested that it could be in order to sort of quicken the pace of ending the run. And according to Rich, that is true. We just didn't know why. This adds that context. I'm going to read a little more and then you guys jump in.
Hmm.
I understand that Jim Lee has been drawing comic books since the spring, and a number of issues have already been completed. But clearly, DC Comics would now like to get a few more under the belt so we don't get problems that have plagued Jim Lee's comics in the past, especially considering his duties as chief creative officer, publisher, and president of DC Comics. What more titles can they throw at this man? That's me talking. However, working on this comic is a major part of the reason that Jim Lee signed up with DC Comics for a considerable period rather than jumping ship to Marvel Comics for the X-Men relaunch. We'll get back to that because I've been thinking about that shit all fucking week because you guys told me that was a no-no. They
Be
just
fair.
don't. Go ahead.
Oh well, we'll talk. We'll
Go
talk.
ahead.
Sorry, we'll talk about it.
All right.
Sorry.
Whether this gets a new Batman #1 or not, I don't know. My gut instinct says yes, but they went the other way 22 years ago. That's in reference to Hush. And yes, I know that some people will doubt this, but my sources are good and I have been pretty good about this kind of thing in the past. Of course, past performance is no indicator of future success. So let's evaluate these things. Chip, his run is over. We don't have to say what we think about it. We'll postmortem that down the road. What do you think about DC making the decision to go back to Jeff Loeb and Jim Lee? Are you concerned with their ability to actually complete the work? And is this something that would excite you?
The Jim Lee piece of it, I think, is smart. I think there's going to be a lot of momentum with Absolute. And so, how do you add on to that? How do you make things additive from a creative standpoint for mainline pieces? You slap on a name like Jim Lee. I think it makes a lot of business sense, and I think for people who have historically been following DC, I think it even builds and fosters a space to be like, look, you have this new stuff that's going on with Scott Snyder, who people came in from New 52, and so they're going to kind of, align with that. That falls for me. And then people prior who are familiar with the runs from the early 2000s or even his name from the 90s are going to want to say, "Oh, let's take a look at that. That's a familiar name. Maybe I can integrate myself further into the larger ecosystem of what DC is now." So I think this is smart. I like it. I initially thought, oh, we're working our way backwards. No, but there's purpose here. There's some strategy here. And I could feel that, especially off the back of the All In initiative and the Absolute initiative. If we're all in and everybody's invited to the table, then hell yeah. Jim Lee and Jeff Loeb, sure, come back. Mark Wade's back. Mark Wade's doing stuff. Let's keep working with the people that we have, the stable of creators that we have, and build excitement. I think this is a smart play.
And I think having the leeway that it seems like they're giving Jim Lee is smart, because I think that's mandatory. The last time he did something ongoing was Suicide Squad, which was consistent, but like for an arc, and then it went to someone else. And even then, I think there was like an issue that wasn't Jim Lee in the middle. So I think they know if they're going to do this, they need to do it right. And that means, if he started in the spring, that's literally a year, a year's headway. I don't really have any qualms about Jeff Loeb. As far as I know, like, he's not head of Marvel TV anymore. Like, he probably, I don't want to assume, but he probably has some time. He's doing the Batman Long Halloween, which already has a whole bunch of issues solicited. So I'm assuming those are done because there's multiple artists on it. So I'm not worried about him meeting any deadlines. It really is Jim Lee, because look, you just named all of his roles. Like, this dude's busy. But it does seem like, and even at cons, it does seem like Jim Lee's gotten the bug again. He at the announcement at San Diego Comic-Con for Absolute, I think he was drawing the Absolute Batman variant that is currently like purchasable with the giant axe. So like the dude still wants to do it. He just also has a lot of other jobs. He's balancing a lot of plates. So giving him this leeway, and I guess it works that he's like president because he can give himself this leeway. So I think it's smart. I think it's kind of screwed over Chip's run a bit because we've talked about how, you know, the subsequent multiple artists that are happening in a row being bi-weekly kind of made sense, but now that it's monthly is going to be rough. That's going to be a rough end to his run. So I don't really feel I feel kind of bad for that. But hey, when the boss wants to do something, you got to do it.
Yeah, I think one thing to consider about Hush as well is it's a very sort of 101 take on Batman. It's a very ground floor level book for a Batman fan. So like as far as like a jumping on point for like the world at the time, you could jump in, get the rough lay of the land, because the way Jeff looked at everything, you got an explanation for every little thing in Batman's life. And I think that would be a really good thing right now, actually, for Batman and the Bat family
Go ahead, Cale. You finish that.
and Gotham altogether.
So BJ from Comics Are Dope, BJ Kicks, is going to be joining us here. He's going to get involved in this conversation. I love this. I love when we get to add a special guest impromptu, especially one of our boys. So BJ is going to hang out with us for a bit. What's up, BJ? How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. How are you guys?
Great. It's good to see you, brother.
It's good to see you too, man. I
And
was
we'll be
just
yeah,
go ahead. No, I was just going through the chat because I missed the last 4 minutes of action. And what is happening? What? And did I miss like when Jim Lee stopped being great?
Dude, I was gonna address that here in a minute. I don't understand. Chad is bugging the fuck out today. Chad is saying that Jim Lee is overrated, not good, not talented. What is happening here?
Whoa, wow, yeah.
It's a bit hyperbolic, but I can
Bugged
see if you're
out.
new to comics, maybe it looking like an antiquated 90s style.
I don't know. That that take from Comic Boom is pretty scathing.
Yeah. Let's hit these super chats before we formally introduce BJ, although at this point he needs no introduction.
He's the
And
fifth
keep
turtle.
exactly.
Casey
Which-
Jones in the scenario.
Yeah, which by the way, you said the next time you did this show, you would have your Casey Jones outfit. So what's up with you, man?
I still haven't went out and bought the mask. I need to grab one. I'll grab one. Maybe I'll grab one before Thursday.
Sean,
Because I'm the
Halloween
LCS
season.
sheriff. You gotta come correct now.
Word. Okay.
You don't want this. You don't want it.
wow.
You and
That's
these
a-
flags, man.
That's a warning.
He's prepping for New York Comic Con, Sean. Jeez, let him chill for a bit. Come on.
I don't care. He's a father. He's a husband. He's a hardworking man. He's got a YouTube channel. He needs a mask. It is what it is.
We'll get a mask.
So MP with the $10 says, I'm excited. I feel DC has mismanaged the Batman title with editorial interference and every writer wanting to break and rebuild Bruce. Time to return to the classic status quo with a fun story. I agree with that. I have thoughts on that, but I agree with that. MP followed it up. Wow, with a $20 super chat. I hope Lee and Loeb reset the status quo. Bring back Wayne Manor. Retcon Alfred's death to be fake, like King first planned. Hush could be behind it. His stories have a history with returns and doubles. Saving Alfred can be the hook. So I've always had a theory that MP works for DC. And that, what he just broke out right there, strikes me as a very plausible plan if they're bringing Hush back, which we don't know. We have no creative words yet as far as what they could be wanting to do, but I could see that for sure. I could see that. Thanks a lot, by the way, MP, kicking us off with the super chats today. That's a reminder that super chats are open. If you guys want to contribute, of course, smash the like button for us. That helps a lot. And be sure if you're watching this that you're subscribed. We're on the road to 4,000 subscribers, and we definitely want to keep you guys in the fold. So subscribe to be sure you always catch what we're doing.
MP says that they do not work for DC, but that feels like something someone who does work for DC would say.
Yeah.
You know, if you work
yeah.
for DC and I ask you, you have to tell me legally.
Otherwise, it's a trap.
Oh, shit.
I think to your Alfred point, that's probably one of the biggest changes that needs to happen to set the groundwork for a baseline. Like that's just classic. He's always been there. He's the father figure. There's a good dynamic there, and I think not that leaving him alone has been a net negative necessarily, but I think having Alfred back helps to uh, ground Bruce to some degree, more so than the rest of the Bat family does.
So BJ,
Mhm.
BJ, by the way, is of the Comics Are Dope YouTube channel, my favorite YouTube channel for comics. And he's here with us. I want to get your thoughts, BJ, on this idea of Jeff and Jim coming back to do Batman. Do you think that, first of all, do you have any connection to Hush? And do you think that this is cool on DC's part to go backwards? Or do you think that looking back at a time where All In suggests they should be looking forward is kind of regressive? Where do you land?
I'm a mixed bag. So, Hush is a very important comic in my journey. It's the first trade paperback I bought when I started reading.
Bro, same.
And so like it's funny because I read Hush and then later read The Long Halloween. And to me, The Long Halloween's a better story, but Hush just has clearly superior art, right? Well, maybe not clearly superior because the more time passes, the more I just really love Tim Sale's art and just appreciate it for different reasons. But um, when I think of like what I want a comic to look like, especially a Batman comic to look like, Hush kind of is top of mind usually. But with that said, right, the argument being somehow that Jim Lee has regressed in skill set, although all he's been drawing is covers for the last 20 years, right? I feel like the argument could be made that Jeff's storytelling isn't where it could or should be, right? If we're just tracking the line from The Long Halloween to Hush, it's like, okay, that's not really as great a mystery as Long Halloween was. And then that one chapter of the last Halloween that we got before the reboot just last week or whatever, it's like, I don't know, but at least it's cool to see them kind of play with these characters again, right? So I don't know. I think my excitement for this next one is going to be very much based on how well the last Halloween does as a story for me. I'm gonna buy it anyway because it's Jim Lee drawing Batman in a monthly book. Like, uh, it's gonna sell, but is it gonna live up to the hype? Is it going to be as good as we maybe expect it to be? I don't know. Jury's still out for me.
Okay.
Can I read the super chat we had from Grayson Red?
Please.
Yeah, so Grayson Red said, people swear you want stories and characters to progress, then champion this type of regression. Let Alfred be dead, let Bruce grow, let Batman evolve.
I don't know. I feel like Alfred is kind of key to Bruce's growth, like just as a character.
Yeah.
Like, and for as much as maybe that's a flaw of Bruce Wayne as a character, I think that's cool. Like, Bruce is a man child that still needs an adult to tell him how to act and behave, right? So Alfred, if Alfred's got to be 130 so that Bruce can be 80 and keep learning lessons from him, I'm cool with that. Because to me, it's Alfred that makes Bruce a better father. It's Alfred that makes Bruce even a better detective, right? Like those quips in the animated series, like, well, maybe you're looking in the wrong place. Like all of that is like essential to what makes Batman Batman. And Bruce kind of flying alone, I feel like it's what opens him up to stuff like, the Gotham War, which kind of sucked. But also like even the whole fail-safe thing. Like if Alfred's in the room, maybe Bruce doesn't go as far as he does. And so I don't mind that regression. In my opinion, the regression is like how long are we going to rely on legacy talent? Like, which they're gonna still be talented, right? Like it's a mental game. It's like if you're a poet, you can be a great poet until you're 100 years old. But it's like, how long can we rely on Mark Wade or Jeff Loeb before it's time to like, let's really, bet the farm or bet the house on some of these newcomers, even like Scott Snyder coming back. It's like all of these sort of, oh, maybe I won't say bygone eras. That sounds like a bridge too far. But all of this, like, oh, let's look back at the last big moment or the last big thing and try to make it the next big thing. I don't know, a little concerning to me.
So it's interesting because I'm coming on the opposite for both takes on there. I think Alfred being dead, I don't want to say it's a good thing, but I've liked the storytelling that's come from it. I've liked how Damien now has somebody that he's lost, and he has, because it's not just Bruce that Alfred was important to, and I think there are a lot of characters that have had to step up in ways that like maybe having Alfred around was coddling them, and then having to grow. Whether or not DC wants to keep Damien, the age for Damien is up in the air for DC, it seems. But I like where that's kind of led Bruce to kind of have to fill that role in some ways, but also for like Dick to fill that role in some ways too for some of the younger generation. So I like where that's been, because it does feel different. It does feel like the Bat family is growing in a way, but also in terms of like the regression for the creatives. I agree. It would be nice to see like a all-star team, and it's someone maybe who read Hush, and that's what sparked their interest in comic books. But at the same time, like I understand why they would want Jeff Loeb and Jim Lee. Like in my heart, I don't see this happening. I don't see this being a long game thing. I see this being like one 12-issue arc on the ongoing that maybe has a new number one. Essentially a new Hush that they can put in a compact comic, 2 years from now. But I also see it as a way of making something evergreen and kind of laying a baseline for Batman in the comics, which has gotten a little confusing mainline. Especially with the movies coming out too. They're trying to establish, a new DC movie universe, and Jim Lee is a part of that. And then with the rumor of James Gunn coming to DC Comics to write something as well, it seems like they're trying to at least seed a baseline for their comics to be more accessible for the future of those people, kind of those movie fans maybe coming in. It's an albatross because that's never really happened. Marvel movies didn't really make Marvel Comics fans, but if they put the effort into that to link the two in some way, I can see why they're doing this.
I think to your point on the short term, I think that feels right. Jim Lee is a busy man. He's going to be doing other things. This is sort of him getting a chance to play. The only thing there is that I wonder if this isn't a way to gauge temperature, right? We have this new initiative. We're getting this creative team to come back. Maybe they do a 12-issue run and Alfred's included, or some of the things that are more classic Batman have been brought back into the fold. He's quote unquote regressed, and see how people react to those things and see whether or not we get different audiences. I think you can tell that over the course of a year or two, depending on how long they get the run for. Then you do, setting out a 5-issue mini here or another mini over here. Like I think that's a better way to get information from your audience.
I want to say thank you. Huge shout out to Gavin Guidry, who gifted 5 Comics Pals memberships, making 5 new people. Well, one who really doesn't deserve it. Making 5 new channel members. So huge shout out to you, and congratulations to Rami Darwish, who does deserve it. Gavin Guidry himself somehow, who clearly deserves it. I don't know how
That's
you
a
gift
flaw on
yourself.
YouTube. That's a flaw on YouTube.
I've never seen that happen before. Marco Cunalata, who definitely does not deserve it. He just threw up the L. That was for himself. I'm just fucking with you, man. Kefis, who deserves it, and Sean Ali, who definitely deserves it. Congratulations to you guys. Now, You guys know what happens when someone gifts channel memberships here live. You know what happens.
Get out.
We take shots.
Oh, I gotta get out of here. Ooh, we should start taking shots.
Definitely not
can-
taking shots.
Yeah, I cannot do that.
Too early in the morning.
But
Yeah.
what we do is we gift 5 memberships right back.
I got it, Sean.
Go for it.
Hit the button. Let's see.
Boom. No, not a red flag, Gavin.
Get a green flag for that.
That's double green. That is double
Hey,
green.
let's
There you
go.
go.
Oh yeah, we got actual people who deserve it. There we go.
Nice. What is this? Moonarch gifted a membership. Shadow Walker from the depths himself. JNYC, Skamikaze, and Danny Luong. Thank you so much, and welcome to the Pals verse.
Hell yeah. Love to see those additions. And you guys should go check out Pen Pals, which is a new show that we dropped this week where we are celebrating you guys by answering your questions. We plucked channel member questions. We plucked questions from the Discord and we put them all together in a nice tight video that hopefully our channel members will enjoy. So check those out. Amin Perez keeping the gifted sub train going by gifting another 5 channel memberships. Holy shit. The Phenomenal AC, Kyle, Matt Sager, Sage VTX, and Blue Spaceman. Congrats on the channel memberships. And thank you so much, Amin. That's awesome of you to do. Appreciate you. Should we go ahead and gift another 5 today?
I mean, look, you can only gift so many. Let's do it. Life is short.
Why not?
All right. Pushing the button. Give me a second.
Hit it.
Here we go. Damn. Trains. Hype train. Bam, 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 bam.
I love it. I love it.
Wrong platform, Marco. There's no hype trains on here.
Oh, my fault. We got, hey, damn you all. A lurker. Weed Man Wade.
Oh, finally.
He's also in the Discord. Real funny. John George Peppers, Chew, and TJ. Welcome,
Awesome.
welcome.
I could have been a TJ.
Yeah, that's right.
I avoided it.
Congratulations to all of you. Dan says this part will be enthralling on the audio podcast. You're totally right.
You know, I'm
But-
thinking about that.
Hey, you guys are with us here in the moment. You know, you're dropping channel memberships, you're dropping super chats. So thank you for the support. It means the world to us. But we will return to the conversation at hand. So my thing is this, and I hate this. I don't like this part of our industry. It's this ageism that happens where there's a younger contingent of readers, which I think includes people of our age group, who believe that because somebody is older, that they don't have value. And in our industry, the opposite is true. You age, you get better in a lot of instances. I still want to see what Greg Capullo can do. I still want to see what Jim Lee can do. Jim Lee is one of the greatest of all time. I don't care what anybody else says. You can have your own opinion, but let's talk facts. Let's talk sales. How many artists and comics have sold more copies of books than Jim Lee?
That
There's a
answer
reason
is
for
0.
Right. Like that is stellar. If we were talking about somebody from Hollywood, I mean, they're letting, what's my man's name who just put out Megalopolis? They gave him, come on.
Francis Ford Coppola. Yeah.
Right. They gave him the keys to the kingdom. They gave him a crazy budget. And by all accounts, what he turned in wasn't that great, but they gave him the space to do it. Why are we not like that here? We should be. When we talked about Jim Lee returning to X-Men, people were saying, oh, he don't have it. He's old. Nobody wants to see that. Is that going to drive numbers? Of course it'll drive numbers. Are you nuts?
If Marvel did approach him with that, it of course they would have done it for numbers. Like they're not doing it just because it'd be cool to see that again.
Although
Right.
I do think your argument applies more to writers than artists. Like drawing a 20-page comic every month is not an
Hard.
easy thing. Like that's a physical
Yeah.
task, as well as mental. So, like, while I feel like Mark Waid could pump out amazing scripts until he's 90, right? Like, I don't know that I'm expecting insert artist here to have that same skill set, for as long.
Yeah, and the art has to change. It has to evolve as well. Like, there've been comments around like Frank Miller and his art style and how that's transformed over the years. There are instances of people who, one of my favorite artists, Stephen Bissett, has over time slowly lost vision, right? And that affects your output, right? So I think to your point, that absolutely is something that has to be taken into consideration. And I think you have to look back and reflect on their creation from the perspective of those things can change, but that doesn't diminish their artistry. It is literally a physical limitation on their part.
And Jim Lee is not suffering from any of those things. We
Yep.
see Jim Lee art regularly through his covers. And B, it's case by case. Obviously, not everybody who ages is going to retain the same level of talent. But when you got a guy who can still produce, you go to the well. You absolutely go to the well. DC's smart for it. Jim Lee is smart for it. And I think people would show up to buy it. So if we're going to have the conversation, let's have it in good faith. This is not a bad financial decision on DC's part at all. Not in any way. I cannot buy that argument.
And we don't even know what it's going to cost either. Like, Jim Lee's already at the company. Is he like giving himself a huge paycheck to do this? It doesn't feel like that would happen. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't think he would be, as Sean likes to say, pulling up the Brinks truck for himself. He's getting a lot of money doing the big behind the scenes stuff that he's doing.
But to that, are we going to pay the Jim Lee tax the same way we might pay?
Oh, most
pay
definitely.
We're paying tax no matter what.
Why not? Hell yeah. Charge me more for that. I'm gladly paying $5.99 for Jim Lee interiors, guys. Jim Lee interiors in 2024? Yes, indeed.
I think $5.99 is my ceiling, though.
Yeah.
If it's a 12-issue maxi, $5.99 an issue. That's it for me.
Here's the thing. I don't think they ever say it's a maxi or a miniseries. I think they say it's a Batman ongoing. This team is back on it. That's it until they're not.
And then Batman is that price from now on.
Yeah.
No.
Oh yeah.
I think
Oh,
they
yeah.
can keep Jeff Loeb on the book longer than they can keep Jim Lee. Like, I can see Jeff Loeb continuing past 12 issues.
But this is not, no one cares about Jeff Loeb in this equation. Like, Jeff Loeb is not the draw. Jim Lee is the draw. They would never say, hey, let's get Jeff Loeb and name your artist to do Batman and think that's going to be marquee. No disrespect to Jeff Loeb. I'm excited for the Jeff Loeb piece, but this isn't an enormous piece of news without the Jim Lee angle.
To that, we currently have Jeff Lowe back on, the last Halloween, and that within the certain community, this community at least, that doesn't feel as marquee as this.
Dude, I thought you were going to say we actually have Jeff Loeb in the chat. I was going to
Yo.
lose my shit.
There he
I'm like,
is.
what?
Oh, no, I don't have a 6-panel screen. Jeff Loeb, can we talk about the scuttlebutt on Daredevil? Never mind. Nope, not touching that.
There's a conversation that's been happening in the chat that I want to address about better art that is better or worse, and figure drawing in particular. I get that the Jim Lee style isn't your bag, and you have an affinity for Mora, for Jimenez, for Redondo, but when it comes to art, I think it's hard to say something is better or worse. I think they're definitely more talented people, but once you get to a certain echelon, like the people you have listed there, Jim Lee, Redondo, Jimenez, and Mora, at that point it becomes flavor, right? What is your favorite flavor? Because all the ice cream's good. So I want to curb that, because I don't want that to become a slander on Jim Lee, and then in that be the precedent for years down the road where someone goes, "Oh, this artist is better nowadays than a Mora, than a Redondo, than a Jimenez," because that's just not true.
And I think it was Gavin Guidry in the chat said it earlier. Jim Lee is new user friendly. And I think that's why Jim Lee works so well. Like the images of Batman that I have on the screen are the images of Batman you would see, like on birthday plates. You know what I mean? Like it's gonna be the most archetypal image of that character, so it's going to be accessible and people are going to recognize it. I can agree with you. I think stuff like what Redondo is doing in Nightwing might be more breaking, reinventing the wheel, like with this like first person view issue and stuff like that. There are some artistic things that some modern artists might be doing differently, and I would argue better as well. But Jim Lee just has that evergreen, like you won't miss really with it. You won't really reinvent the wheel, but it'll be pretty damn good.
And Gavin calls it out here. I love Dan Moore as a person and an artist, but his DNA is like 70% Jim Lee. To praise him without recognizing how much Lee is a piece of it is missing the forest for the trees. And that's the thing.
Thank you so much, Gavin, for cutting through the bullshit. You cannot talk about modern artists and talk about who's better than this one and that one when you're comparing them to the guy who created the style that they're using. Are we kidding right now? I did not think that we were going to have to come on here and explain why Jim Lee is one of the greatest of all time. I really didn't think that. You don't understand that Jim Lee's art style is what these artists grew up reading and seeing? You don't get that? You don't get that the X-Men look and vibe and feel is Jim Lee's look and vibe and feel? You don't understand? We have to have this talk?
I hate to be that guy too. It's like Image Comics wouldn't exist without Jim Lee. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So this is, am I the only one that was dumb enough to spring for these?
what are those?
This is the
podcast.
Fan Home Legend of Batman. It's a Partworks comic. Previously, these were printed by Eagle Moss, which is like a UK company and only available in the UK. They just opened up their subscription in the US. And so it's a monthly thing. Every month you get, it starts with one and ends up at like you're getting 3 hardcovers a month, and they're different stories. They're all Batman stories. And they have connecting spines, which is the draw for me. These are standard size hardcovers. The paper stock is about like a DC trade paperback would be. Anyway, it's stupid. Don't do it. It's like a $4,000 investment over the next 4 years. I'm doing it just because the you ate your food? Okay, well you can go color, baby.
Look
Oh,
at my
you
man
stay here?
multitasking.
Damn,
He's
I
being
wish-
a dad.
I
He's
wish
plugging
somebody
books.
let me color after I ate my food.
You're allowed to after the
So-
show, Cal.
I got to do this podcast.
Right. But all that, it's like $4,000 over 4 years is what it's going to cost to get it. But it's going to be worth it for the connecting spines. The big reason not to buy this, in my opinion, is that it double dips with like every DC Batman omnibus. And there were several DC omnis that were just recently solicited that filled in the gaps that this previously filled. So don't do it. Just buy the omnis. They're cheaper. But all that to say, my last package included Hush Volume 1 and 2. So I had them easily on hand, right? That's Dustin Win. But the Jim Lee art in Hush is just some of the best stuff, just period, right? And so, that's that. That's true. You can't talk about Jim Lee without talking about Neil Adams. Hey, babe, can you pause that, please? Thank you. And then you go from Hush. They do not include extra stories at the end. The Eagle Moss DC graphic novel collection did. It would include like the first appearance of whoever was featured. These Batman ones don't do that. But you go from Hush to All-Star Batman and Robin the Boy Wonder. By all accounts, terrible story. But the art jump from Hush to this even, like,
it's almost better.
It is better.
Yeah.
Oh snap! I didn't realize they were. Oh, they did the gatefold page in this.
Ooh.
Big.
Show it off.
The
Oh,
ridiculous
damn.
19-page Batcave.
Wow. I've never
Yeah.
seen that.
Oh, there's a part I didn't fold out still. Oh snap!
There's more.
There's more. I don't know how they even did this in printing. Okay, I'm gonna
Holy
mess
cow.
up this book.
That is crazy.
But that's the type of stuff Jim Lee was doing the last time Jim Lee was doing interiors. Again, we could make the case that maybe it's not going to be as great, but I don't see Jim Lee going back to the art table and trying to do anything that's not as great or better as what he had done before.
That's a great point, I think. And by the way, if you just enjoyed the presentation by BJ, the sultry tones, that's a great reason to the cute child, that these are all great reasons to join the Comics Are Dope YouTube channel. Go subscribe, be a part of the Legion, the 13,000 plus that have already made the choice to subscribe. You want to be a part of that. But BJ makes an excellent point. Jim Lee doesn't need to make money from doing interior art. If Jim Lee wants to do this, and according to Rich, a part of why he re-signed was because he wanted to do this. That's what Rich said. So if that's the case, it's not the business side of Jim Lee that is acting. It's the creative, artistic side. So if he feels like he has a reason to step down from the big chair and roll his sleeves up and pick up his pens again and get it in, I believe that's because he has something to say. That's because he has something to prove. He wants to get back in the mix. So let that man cook.
And even still, even if he just wants to draw Batman again, like, sweet.
Yeah. I'm all in on that.
There's no rumor about who's maybe inking or, God forbid we have an inker in comics, or coloring Lee at this point, right?
No.
Okay. 'Cause I think
It's
that has
absolutely Scott Williams and Alex Sinclair. That's like,
That's his, yeah.
Okay. I was assuming I'm not the biggest Sinclair guy, but okay, yeah.
Pete Collins. Oh boy, we got to talk about Pete Collins. By the way, we're gonna show off, if we can, Tyler, a little later. Show off what Pete Collins did for this community. Pete Collins, by the way, the artist behind the Bardic Verses, who says art is subjective. You can like someone else's work more. You can have a favorite, but that doesn't devalue another artist's quality. And that's why I get bullish when we talk about this kind of thing, because to me, it's not about, oh, Jim Lee's Jim Lee's not good. Jim Lee doesn't have it anymore. Like, keep that at the door. You don't have to love it. That's why I never criticize Frank Miller. I don't criticize Frank Miller because just because his covers that he's doing now aren't for me, people are eating that up. People love that. And that's their bag. So why is your opinion more important about what Frank Miller does than the people who buy those covers? They're the ones buying it. If nobody buys it, then the market decided it's not valuable. But I'll bet you this. I'll bet you that when Jeff Loeb and Jim Lee's issue 1 of Batman comes out, whatever, if it's issue 1, if they keep the numbers, that run is going to do at least 50,000 more buys than the current one. At least. And I think that's a conservative bet.
does it beat? All right. So Absolute Batman did 200K first issue,
250.
right? 250.
Yeah.
Was it Thundercats or TMNT that did 300?
TMNT did 300.
Does it beat both of those?
Ooh.
You're saying at least 600,000.
Yeah.
No. Well, I wasn't saying double them, but nah. I'm saying, do we
Well, them-
get
I mean,
do
them
we get
together.
350,000 pre-orders for the
Oh.
first issue?
Damn, for a Jim Lee?
This sounds like another classic Comics Pals bet that I will not be a part of.
I don't think so. And not because there isn't fanfare there. I don't think so because it isn't also wrapped up in a new initiative. Like Scott Snyder coming back, plus leading the charge on Batman, plus that being a new initiative was a huge thing. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles relaunching, plus a new creative team, that felt like it. But this feels like mainline gets a new creative team, and it happens to be Jim Lee. I don't think that brings 350,000 people to the stands.
I would say it'll come in about I would imagine it'll come in between 200 and 250,000. I don't think it'll reach 300K, and I would be surprised if it actually beat out Absolute Batman. That feels like a revolution. That feels like a special moment. I don't think it'll do those numbers, but I think it will definitely do better than, monthly Batman comics do, by a nice healthy amount.
Just have more variant covers than Absolute.
No.
A couple variants from Jim Lee though. I'll definitely
Well,
do
I
some.
think it'd be all variants from artists who are influenced by Jim Lee,
Oh,
which is everyone currently drawing.
yeah, everybody in the DC stable.
I mean, wouldn't you? Wouldn't you want to have some kind of, retailer exclusive or something? So I'm thinking, like, man, does that get it past 250? Above 250 is tough, though.
What if Jim Lee does 3 covers for each issue?
Damn.
Do you
I don't
buy
know,
all
he's
3?
He's got a year ahead. So I don't know. Is he
I
drawing?
mean, Sean does.
Sean buys all three. Sean and Bean.
I can imagine
I
like
would-
Jim
I
Lee
would
at these
tempt it.
executive, meetings where they're talking money and and quarterly results, and he's just drawing the whole time, not paying attention.
Yeah. I think it's exciting. I think it's hype. I think it's, yes, is it nostalgia? Yeah, but I don't think it's just that, because if the guy has the talent, if and both of them, frankly, if they both have the talent and something to say, let's do it. Bring it on. Jeff Loeb in the last Halloween special #1, I felt like there was magic there. I really enjoyed it on his end. So I love this. This is fantastic. Let's hit some of the comments. Ganthit says the main hype I have for Jim Lee is because I'm supposed to, and everyone who knows more about comics than me, like the panel, is hyped. Hey, that's cool. Like, you don't even have to have a deep knowledge of Jim Lee, or be excited. You don't have to be excited. I would say if it's intriguing to you, give it a shot. Why not? And let the creator speak for themselves. I don't have to tell you why you should be excited. I think looking at Jim Lee's work, looking at the body of work of both creators, it speaks for themselves.
C.W. Gordon said Jim Lee has done variants for everyone's comics. Everyone needs to repay the favor.
Yeah.
Pay it back. Pay it forward.
And what year was Hush, BJ? Do you have that?
Hush was 06.
I knew you would.
No,
Hush was 2002.
03.
02.
Too okay. But think about like all the new creations in Batman since then. Because the good thing that I liked about Hush is that it tackled like all the rogues gallery. It was like, oh, you want to see, Jim Lee's Poison Ivy? Here you go. I'm curious to see what Loeb and Lee can do in a modern Batman universe, where you have stuff like the Court of Owls, you have stuff like Mr. Bloom, you have Professor Pig. They're like, in terms of characters who have gotten really interesting villains in the last decade and a half, Batman's up there. Like, Batman continues to get some really cool characters created just in the general vicinity of it. And like, since 2002, Batman has gone through a lot. The book has gone through a lot. So seeing them play in a relatively new sandbox is also interesting to me.
We missed out on Atomic Hound's super chat and sage words. Thank you so much, Atomic Hound, for the 1999. We are already paying a Jim Lee sales tax. We may as well get some art out of it. This is a sales beast, just waiting for the absolute titles to start seeing sales attrition. Yeah, I think this is a sales juggernaut. I also think it's To me, create from a creative standpoint, it is exciting. I like to see creators return to the well. I think Scott Snyder on Absolute this week, showcasing that he does have new ideas. He does have fresh things to say with the character. They say you can never go home again. I think you absolutely can. And it's often better when you do because you've learned a lot.
And the good thing about Batman is if you're not really into Jim Lee or Jeff Loeb, there's 12 other titles about Batman he created. Like Tom Taylor and Michael Janin are going to be on Detective, assuming they would be on by spring, which is this is projected for. Like that's a more modern team. So like different strokes for different folks.
It was All-Star Batman and Robin that went from 05 to 08. That's where 2006 came from in my head.
Okay. 08 had like 2 issues.
Right.
Amin also, by the way, re-upping on the membership. Member for 8 months. Amin Perez of the Comics Pals VI Pal. Love that for you. Love that for us. Thank you so much, Amin. Really appreciate you, Double Dipper.
MP says it's interesting how history repeats. The early 2000s saw Gordon retire, Alfred leave, and Bruce consumed by the Batman identity and fighting his family. With sales down, DC brought in Lee and Loeb.
That's funny. Time is a flat circle in that way. And I think we've seen a lot of that over the last couple of years. Look at the Ultimate Universe making a resurgence when Marvel's main line felt kind of stale. Look at Absolute coming in and ushering in a new era the way that the New 52 did. We're seeing a lot of what's old is new again type stuff. Rami Darwish with the 5 spot. Jim Lee specifically as a legend. No one sold 1 million copies of a book. Only Jim Lee. And we need to be giving the man his flowers.
Yep.
Because what always happens is, and I hate to speak ill, I hate to speak this way, but when these guys pass, when these men and women pass, then it's all, oh my God, what a legend, gone too soon and everything else. But when they're alive, nobody wants to see them working. I want to see them working. I want to see Ann Nocenti continue to get work. I want to see Chris Claremont continue to get work. Is that my era? No, it's not. But there are a lot of people for whom that is their era, and they want to see those stories be told. So bring it on.
And
I will
comics don't
say
have
just
comics don't have a retirement plan. So the only way these guys are getting paid is to keep work.
Yeah. What are you going to say there, BJ?
I was just gonna say there have been other artists to sell a million copies, right? Like I think the run up to X-Men #1 selling 8 million. I think Todd McFarlane's Spider-Man #1 sold like 2 million. New Mutants sold like 2.5, 3. Interesting that all 3 of those guys end up going to work for the same place or starting the same company. That's crazy. But there are other people that have sold 1 million. Just put some respect on their names, just for fairness.
100%. Yeah. And when you say New Mutants, that was Rob Liefeld, yeah?
Yep.
That's a major claim to fame for him. And he will never let you forget it.
We can't.
Which, if I sold 2 million to 3 million copies of something, if there were 2 million people watching us right now, I'm not going to lie to you guys, I'd crow about it a little bit.
Listen, if I sold 2 million napkins and they came in 1,000 packs, I'd be like, yo, that's me right there.
I did that.
You're the
Yeah.
napkin man. You're the napkin king. Like, that's what's up. That's a beautiful thing, Um, Zach G says, "Hey guys, how do I join the channel to see members only videos?" Thank you for asking. Appreciate the question, Zach. So there's a join button right next to the subscribe button, which I hope you've clicked already. But if you click that join button, then a video is going to pop up along with some options. You choose the tier that's right for you. The Comics Pal Sidekick gets you loyalty badges. It gets you your customized emoji so you can share our pals heads in the chat. But then the VI Pal unlocks you the exclusive videos. Even though Pen Pals, the new video we put out is for everybody. Just want to celebrate all channel members with that. But everybody else or everything else is behind that VI Pal tier. So if you wanted that, that would be the tier for you. And again, thank you for asking. So I want to also say that right now DC is putting everything they have behind the All In initiative. And there's a lot of focus in my mind on new creators and people who have been on the come up. Rom V has a major project, the New Gods. Um, PKJ is in the mix and appears like he's going to be in the mix even further. They sought out Kelly Thompson for Absolute Wonder Woman. We have new players on books like Poison Ivy, or not Poison Ivy, excuse me, Harley Quinn. Catwoman is by Torn Gronbeck. So we're seeing new creators in the fold. I feel like that gives DC a little bit more room to dig through the crates for a vintage creative team. Does that soften the blow for you guys at all?
Soften the
Uh,
blow in terms of
Like yes, they're going backwards and they're bringing back two people who we're familiar with, but around that, we have a lot of books with new creators and fresher voices. Does that
oh,
help?
yeah. I mean, I feel the effects of the new creators more than I do the older creators currently. When we're reading the comics, that's who we're talking about. When we're reviewing them, ourselves, BJ, like those are the people that are getting the laurels now, right? So I think bringing them back is for the people who have been in the ecosystem and have been reading comics for X amount of time. That's who that's for. Everything else, they're still there. They're still doing work, and if anything, we're so excited for the new work that they're doing.
Yeah, since I got in, it's been an interesting mix of right. I cover weekly comics, so I'm very firmly planted like 3 months ahead because I got to keep up with solicits. And then in my spare time, I'm grabbing these trade paperbacks, these omnis or hardcovers, like trying to figure out what was so great about all this stuff that people say is better than what's coming out now, right? And sometimes it's a lot better. Sometimes it's like I see the point, but I still like this new stuff, right? But I do think, right, like there's ignoring the comics gate sized elephant in the room, right? There is a subset of the audience that just rejects everything new, right? And then will be like, oh, well, we need it to just be like it was. We need to get these names, these names, these names, whatever, right? Not that this move is to appeal to any of those, but I do think it's cool, like not even just that subset, but like lapsed readers, right? Like just people who were reading comics now have kids, their kids are in college, they're empty nesting. Let's go back to the comic shop. I think it's nice to have those familiar names there for them when they get there. So, but I'm still going to be reading new comics no matter what.
That's a huge part of it too, right? Like this allows them to draw people in who are lapsed and they go, comics, I used to love them. I've got my long boxes, but I don't really mess with them too much. But you see a name like Jim Lee and you go, oh, okay, I'm gonna have to come back for this. And who knows how far down the rabbit hole they go after that.
There's no world where the amount of people who see this Jim Lee Jeff Loeb book drop the title being more than the people who are going to pick up the title. It is a makes sense move. I don't see any real downside from DC's end. And like BJ said, there's other books for fans to read. And if anything, this could be the introduction to the gateway drug for some people. Like
That's
Jim
it.
Lee was that for like
Ah,
Hush is one of the first ones I read. That was one of my gateway drugs into DC. So that the first hit is $5.99, but so we'll see what this could do for the rest of the line. I think this can only benefit the rest of the line too.
And I think a book like Hush provides sampling and perspective, right? Like before that, I would have needed to potentially have explored five across maybe five arcs or five books in order to get the same interactions with these villains, right? To see the Riddler, to see Poison Ivy, to see Croc, to see I don't know if I forgot if I said Joker or not, but like to see the plethora of villains that get included in that would have needed to have been more integrated. So there's a greater opportunity in a book like that for me to get more familiar with the DC universe. That puts me at a better position to be like, oh, I understand. I'm more familiar. Therefore, I can go out and explore.
CW Gordon said the Jim Lee tax needs to be called the Jim fee, and that got me. That got me.
It's
That
good.
works on a lot of levels. That's real good. I also wanted to respond to MP, who says recent Batman status quo for Superman would be if Doomsday killed the Kents in front of John, Clark got fired from the planet, and then Lois left him. That's not growth, that's just pain. And that is in reference to the idea that we've seen in the comments section that Batman has grown so much since Alfred died and over the last decade. And it's like, that's not true. And I want to say this, and I love you guys so much. I love everybody that listens. I love comics readers, but y'all are very much being duped. Like, don't fall for the banana in the tailpipe. Both the big two give you status quo, and they don't change. They just move stuff around. Like, Alfred dying didn't make Batman grow. He didn't grow. How did he grow? He got sad. He got bummed out because she died and Catwoman left him. Then he realized, you know what? I still have a mission. There's more comics to sell. Let me perk up again. So he perked up again. And the family's around him. Oh, then guess what? The family left him. They were really mad because he was being a jerk. Wow, when did I last see that? Whoever was writing Batman before. Everybody does the same thing, guys. It's all the same. There's no such thing as growth. Spider-Man don't grow. Batman don't grow. Nightwing grew because he was a fucking kid, but he grew up. Yes, okay, but that's it. How much growth has he had since then?
When he grew, he was already 40 years old.
Right, exactly. Don't fall for it, guys, please.
There's a Dick Grayson growing joke here somewhere that I won't make.
God.
You can't say those types of things around BJ. He's a family man, and his
I
channel.
didn't make the joke. I didn't make
his
it.
channel's rated G.
Thank God he's wearing headphones, Tyler.
Yes. God, that's why he has to listen to this podcast with his headphones on. Isn't that what
Every
you
time.
said, BJ?
Absolutely. Yeah.
There you go. There you go. We can't
Although,
offend. Yeah.
to be fair, it's usually Sean.
What?
Whoa.
What?
It's usually Sean. Sean with the holy crap bomb, like just every time, without fail.
If somebody's going to say something that's pause worthy, I'm just reacting. I'm sorry. You said it.
Wow. Unbelievable. Pete Collins says there's definitely been growth and change since Hush. Damian hadn't debuted yet. That has been a significant change for Bruce. Has it, though?
Is that growth? Like, I don't know. I feel like we're either telling the same story with Damien or we're ignoring his existence, but we're not really growing.
But also, Bruce has had wards since forever. So Damian is a Robin. The Robins have been portrayed as Bruce's kids. So now one of them is literally his son, but I don't think that that's markedly different than him having to care for one of these young kids that he's dressing up and taking to war every night. It's essentially the same idea.
I think the most we've seen that dynamic sort of grow in terms of like actual fatherhood is even just this week in Batman and Robin, when Damian said some garbage about Thomas Wayne, and Bruce was like, "Ooh, we'll talk about that when we get home."
Young man.
There's the figure wag. There it is.
That's right.
Yeah.
For me, what's funny is like I feel like the growth for Bruce in recent years has really come with Nightwing, right? Like, and some of that is just like, emotion farming, but it's been like these moments where Nightwing is doing something and Bruce is like, "That's my boy." It's like, oh, okay, cool. Like he does view him as a son. He is like active in this kid's development. Great.
Didn't that
This
actively
kid,
happen in
this-
Absolute Power after Nightwing made his speech? Like
Yeah.
Bruce was like,
No, it was wasn't it Dark Crisis?
It might have been Dark Crisis. It was one of the two where Bruce was like,
Yeah.
"That's my boy."
I think it was both. And there were a few
Yeah.
times in
It
Taylor's
was both.
Nightwing.
Oh, and Bruce had this squeeze into that Nightwing suit. Ugh. Fan art loved it though.
Chop Harder Alchemist, one of the bros, says, I would say there was a little growth in very recent issues. Williamson and PKJ did a good amount of growth for Bruce as a father And the end of Failsafe had some growth with Bruce accepting that he needs the family and building a house for them. But let's be honest though, we've seen that. We've seen Bruce, sort of alienate the family. Death of the family happened in Scott Snyder's run, where the family was alienated because the Joker specifically wanted that to happen because he wanted Bruce to grow. And then at the end of that, the realization was, well, Bruce needs the family. I feel like we've seen that play out in everybody's run.
It's all about perspective. It's growth in the micro sense. It's growth in the arc. It's growth in the storyline. In the macro sense, it is repetitive, and there's no real growth once you kind of step back and look at it from a top-down perspective.
Yeah.
It is a pattern, a pattern of behavior.
And they have to do it because every so many years, there's a new crop of readers who didn't read that last thing that you're talking about. And so when we have this conversation and we say, hey, guys, nothing new under the sun, they go, yeah, but what about this change? And it's like, yeah, but did you read this run 10 years ago? Because I did, and I remember when that happened.
The amount of
But
time,
that's the beauty
yeah.
of comics.
That's the beauty of Batman, too. The amount of times that, in case of emergency, break the new Robin glass happens. Like, that's cyclical for Batman, too. Even Tim Drake becoming Robin again was essentially a new Robin because he'd been gone so long. Just the nature of things.
I don't know about that.
Dan Trudeau says there isn't much new to do with Batman, only different angles on the same plot lines. We've even seen multiple takes on his end. This is what happens when you pile up decades of storytelling. Yes, and by the way, they're soap operas. This is not different than me watching Days of Our Lives when I was a kid. This isn't different than watching Dawson's Creek. Like it's just, a regurgitation. It's never ending.
When you were a kid, you were watching yesterday, Sean.
Nah, I had to give up on it.
Okay.
But
right.
I grew up watching soap operas. I watch wrestling. Wrestling is literally the same shit every week. That's just how it is. You eat it up or you don't. But I do.
was a One Life to Live kid myself.
Hey, yes, absolutely. General Hospital, come
Yeah.
on, please.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hell yeah. Did you guys watch that one? What was that one called on I think it was on NBC. Might have been CBS, but it was kind of supernatural. Like there was a witch on it. She was old and she had some kind of mystical
The
powers,
British one?
maybe. Sorry?
Was it the British one?
No, it wasn't British. It was an American show. Anyway.
Hmm.
I'm a soap opera kid.
I watched Price is Right, and then I stopped watching when the soap operas came on.
The Young and the Restless, like,
Yo.
bro, like just, I don't know, like Sonny Corinthos and Victor Newman, the fact that one, they're both still in soap operas,
Yeah.
and the fact that they're like the most sinister dudes like in all of TV was like amazing for me as a kid.
Are they the Jeff Loeb?
They
and
might
Jim
as well
Lee
have been
of-
superheroes.
It sounds like the Jeff Loeb, Jim Lee of superhero of soap operas at this point.
Right.
Still at it.
I just looked up soap operas and I didn't realize Scandal was considered a soap opera. Scandal's amazing. You guys watch Scandal?
That's
Okay,
not a soap
That's
opera.
not a soap opera. Soap opera is dependent on the camera used.
I don't
Oh.
think it is anymore. I don't think it is.
Apparently, the show you were talking about, Sean, is Passions. That's what the chat is saying. Anyway.
Passions.
I thought that was British.
Yes. Yo. Oh, you guys are amazing. Yes, I loved Passions. Damn, how did you guys know that? I was handed a note that says Days of Our Lives. I'm not kidding. I
You
was
know-
handed a note that says Days of Our Lives.
Well, listen, they were right. Like,
I guess, just to bring it back to comics, there is a connection, right? So I'm pretty sure it was Young and the Restless, where there's these two brothers, Malcolm and Neil, and they're fighting over the same girl, right? And they're the black guys on the soap opera, so I was very much invested. Anyways, Malcolm is actually played by Shamar Moore, who voiced Cyborg in several DC animated films. And now here we go. We can go back to comics.
I
whoa.
appreciate it. Jose says soap operas still have an ending, though. I don't see the point in that. I mean, they kind of don't, though. Like, they end if the ratings get so abysmal that they have to cancel it, but they're constructed in a way that they're meant to exist in perpetuity until they don't.
I thought Grey's Anatomy ended years ago, and that shit's still going.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, it's on like season 20 or
It has
something.
like 2
I
seasons a
thought
year
that
sometimes.
ended.
Bro, it's still going. And the people need their grays.
Yeah.
People need their grays
Yep.
all these years later. So the point is, guys, that's what comics are. If that's a new idea to you, welcome. That's what comics are. They're going to do the same stuff. The guy that you thought died 20 episodes, 30 issues ago, he's going to come back. And when they unveil his mask, you're going to be like, that's that guy? I can't believe it. Yeah, it's that guy. And then in a few years, they're going to run that back again. Green Goblin, Norman Osborn, he's bad. And when he turns good, you're going to be like, wow, I love him as a good guy. And Peter's going to be like, wow, Norman's good now. And then he's going to be the Green Goblin again. That's it.
What?
Then you could make the Pikachu face.
Yeah.
Marco's still learning, it seems.
Sorry.
Yeah, he's a Swamp Thing fan. He's used to not having books.
Yo,
Period.
that's great. Now I've reached my time limit. I gotta run. We gotta get ready for a birthday party and all sorts of things. I will see you guys in New York. I don't know how I'm managing my schedule because literally everything I'm trying to do is between 3 and 5 o'clock on Friday. So that's stupid, but we'll get up for sure.
Yeah, I'll reach out to you privately. We'll talk.
Cool.
Yep. See you then.
Peace.
Comics are dope.
Hey, BJ.
Be good. Cool. So that's BJ of Comics Are Dope. Make sure you guys subscribe to his channel. He's an awesome guy. That was just a taste of what he does over there. So always appreciate when he comes and hangs out with us. Yeah, ultimately, this might not even be true. The Jeff Loeb and Jim Lee thing, it might not even be true. But I think that we have to be open to the possibility, because if it does happen, we're looking at least 1 year of them on this book.
I have some questions. Do you
Fire
think
'em
they
off.
try to do this for Superman and Wonder Woman as well? Establish a baseline of like an all-star team to kind of bring people in. Because I would argue Mark Waid is already one of those creators who's on Action Comics currently.
I don't think it's an initiative. I really don't. I think that, no one complains that Mark Waid is writing comics, and he's of the older guard. I think they brought him on because he's just in their bullpen. Jeff Loeb and Jim Lee aren't in the stable necessarily, but I think if you have an opportunity to go back to that well, you do it, no brainer. But I don't think DC is looking at this as all right, we're going to do it over here, we're going to do it over there. I think this is just a one-off thing.
Yeah, and I don't think that there are the same kind of staple creators like that, to the same degree. Like you'd have to whip out like George Perez or some shit.
That would be a tough thing to do, Marco.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
And even Zaslav wouldn't put that bill,
Yeah, that would you would be able to buy one less boat.
Yeah.
Okay. Gavin made a call out on Stuart Immonen, bringing him back for Superman. And Stuart Immonen is top 2 for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that Superstar Superman thing was not it. Yeah, that was not it. And it felt like a stopgap, really, more than anything.
Yep.
But all right, we've said it all on. Oh no, we haven't said it all. There's one more thing to discuss about this, and this is my lick back, because you guys all clowned on me for believing that Marvel was made a proposition for Jim Lee to jump ship. And now we know, based on what Rich is saying, the same guy who reported it last year, that not only did they offer it, but that he turned it down. And a big part of him re-signing with DC was being able to return to drawing Batman. So, do you still think it was bullshit? Do you still think I was delusional? Do you still think that was a wrong call?
I think you were delusional in thinking he would ever take it.
Whoa, but that wasn't the narrative back then. The narrative was that there was no way that that even happened.
No, I thought you were convinced that he would take it.
I wasn't
Well, no,
convinced that
it
he
was
would
established that
take
he
it.
didn't, yeah.
I was saying I believe it.
That he took it?
No,
No.
that the offer was made, that the conversation was had, and that he entertained it. And ultimately, we didn't know at the time if he turned it down. Well, no, we did know he turned it down. We already knew he turned it down at that
Yeah,
point.
because we had From the Ashes at that point.
Yeah.
My stance was there's no money that Marvel could have given that would have made sense for Jim Lee at that point.
I think the fact that he is drawing interiors just a couple of years later, or a year later from the Ashes, which is what he would have been doing, I think that shows that either way he wanted to get back to the drawing table.
Sure.
Yeah, for sure, 100%. And I feel like if I remember that conversation too, it was like he would have to renegotiate the contract to include those things.
And all of you motherfuckers said that, oh, well, why would he do that? He gets paid millions of dollars to sit in his ivory tower and do nothing. Why would he want to draw again? Because he's Jim Lee. That's why.
Well, on K saying Marco's
Yeah.
trolling, yo, chill.
I'm not saying he didn't want to draw, by the way. I'm saying he didn't want to lose the money he's making at DC.
Look,
Well, this is
look, guys,
different.
listen. Do what I'm about to do.
Nothing.
I don't remember shit. You can't pin nothing on me. I don't remember saying nothing.
I said that? Huh?
Show it to me. I
Listen
don't remember.
back.
I don't remember shit.
Cale
Listen
clears the
back.
mental cache after every episode.
Please.
Listen back. That's all I'm saying. All right. We've said it all on that subject. We'll let the proof reveal itself one way or another. We're not going to have long to wait. I think if March is the target, we're not going to hear about it at New York Comic Con. I wouldn't think, but probably shortly after. Although, quite frankly, solicits for March would be in June. January, February, March. So New York Comic Con wouldn't be too well. No, that would still be pretty early.
It would still be early, yeah. I don't expect anything outside of more Absolute Comics announcements for New York Comic Con.
Yeah.
Probably.
Soon TM.
Probably get the Dennis Camp announcement if that's to be believed at New York Comic Con.
Absolute. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I'm with that. But yeah, either way, we'll know soon enough. And if Jim Lee doesn't return to do interiors, then you guys can make me eat shit. You guys can make me eat shit.
Hey, listen, Sean.
Yeah.
I'll say the same thing I just said to those boys. I won't remember anything. Oh, I said that? Prove it.
All right, fair enough. Shadow Walker says, MFers, this is why comics are dope, claims Sean was the worst and needs headphones. I'm sorry. What do you want me to say? Go watch that episode. Hear how these guys were talking. Look at us a year later. How did we get here? Jim Lee has a panel at NYCC, says Silhouette. That is pretty normal, I think. So that doesn't mean anything to me as far as an announcement. But if they were going to make it and they wanted to make it on the convention circuit, that would be a great place.
They were going to announce it. They would call the Comics Pals. That's what it is. They say, "Oh,
Shit,
look,
I wish.
it's them walking. Is that Marco from the Comics Pals? Oh, yo, we got to go talk to these guys."
Yeah, Mickey
I think-
Mouse himself looking around the corner going, oh, Marco?
Can you go higher, Cal?
Not happily.
Gavin Guidry says, hopefully my first Marvel cover gets shown in the next batch of solicits next week so I can run around bragging about it. Gavin,
Yo.
that is insanely exciting. Congratulations to you. But I have to admit, a smidge of disappointment that you haven't slid in my DMs just to assuage me, just to let me know that my hopes are going to come true and you drew Rogue with a half glove.
It's got to be Gambit, though. Come on.
It's Marvel.
It's
It's
gotta
got to
be
be
Gambit.
Marvel. I'm sorry, it's got to be X-Men, right?
Yeah.
Gambit, yes, I agree with you, Tyler. But Gambit and Rogue go together. Why not? You can't draw
Yeah.
Gambit and Rogue on the same cover?
Gambit in a half glove, turtle power.
I don't want to see that.
I do.
What do you mean?
I
Good
don't
for-
want to
it's
see
good for the
that.
grip of the cards.
My man
That-
looked great in a half glove.
The half glove is for me.
Well, that's fine.
You know what?
Kinks on full display here on Comics Pals.
Yo, Gabby going full caps.
He said
He
we
said,
are.
I'm
Go
gonna
ahead.
find you.
He said we are going to have a conversation in New York about things. That's what I want to hear. Let's go.
Hell yeah.
Gavin's
He's just gonna bring you a half glove.
He's saying I don't want there to be a text thread of evidence of
Yeah, right.
what I'm telling you guys.
Dude watched House of Cards.
That's awesome. I'm glad to hear it. Hey, so we've got a lot going on around Comics Pals HQ. A lot going on. Next week is New York Comic Con. Your boys will be there. Unfortunately, just three of us, Tyler, Marco, and myself. We're going to be there from Thursday to Sunday. We're going to be covering everything. We're going to be up in the panels, which, by the way, we got to go over that because there's a Ghost Machine panel that looks really awesome. A couple DC ones, too. So we're going to be up hitting panels up. We're going to be on Artist Alley doing interviews. We've already got some stuff cooking lined up, and then a lot more that will develop at the event. That means that Wednesday, not Thursday, but this Wednesday, we will be doing Pals Pulls just to make sure we get it out for you guys. Our policy is we don't miss shows. So we will make it happen by hook or crook this Wednesday. Next week, Sunday, at some point in the night is when we're going to do the show. Could be around 7-ish. We'll let you guys know.
That's what it was last year. It was around
Yeah.
7:30, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah. So that'll probably end up being what it is. But of course, if you can't make those times, the shows will be posted when they normally are. Fridays Thursday, Friday for Pals Pulls, and then Monday for the main shows. So they will be out there. We will have interviews with creators. Those are going to be out there too. You guys are going to get fed. So stick with us because a lot of NYCC stuff is coming. If you will be there, come say hello.
I will be wearing my tie-dye Comics Pals shirt, so I will be hard to miss, maybe.
I got my blue shirt.
Marco's always
sweater.
bouncing around. The ability that Marco has to just bounce around New York Comic Con, like I lose Marco constantly. I need a leash for him.
I go on side adventures, my little side quests.
We'll be walking to go somewhere, and Marco starts talking to some random person, and I'm like, Marco, come on, buddy.
Huh?
Yeah, that's
It's
true.
like a kid at
That's
Disneyland.
very true.
Look at this
Oh my
art.
god. When there were there was a year where there were 5 of us there, right?
No.
No?
Not with Cale. No, I don't think you
No,
guys
I
ever
don't
had
think
Cale
so.
at New York Comic Con.
No,
No.
Cale, no.
I've never been to New York Comic Con.
We had someone tag along.
That's not true, by the way. Cale has been to New York Comic Con.
No, I haven't. I've never been to New York Comic Con.
What? Wasn't I there with you?
No,
Were you at Special Edition?
I've never. Nope.
Hmm.
We went to the 2 Phillies together, and that's. I've never been to New York Comic Con.
Yo, that's shocking. Hey, you got to get out there, man.
I almost made it this year.
Almost. But
Can
you'll be late.
Well, I mean, listen, I'm gonna have. I don't know if you guys have noticed my rowing arms are. I've been beefing it up, getting ready. I don't know if I'm gonna make it this year, but next year. Can I make a quick announcement?
Please.
On October 27th, I will be at London MCM.
I've always wanted to go to that one.
Just the one day. So, unfortunately, you will not be being fed by me. But if you want to come say hi, I will be wearing. Well, I assume I will be wearing my Comics Pals shirt, and I'll be following a bunch of cosplay. Let me think. What's the theme? I will be following around a bunch of cosplay girls who are doing Disney villains, fashion Disney villains is what they're doing.
Oh, sick. I'll be doing that at New York Comic Con. So we've got that in common.
Just except one of you knows them and the other doesn't.
Yeah. I'm following them on purpose. No, hang on.
I also will be. Well, that's cool, dude. Are you paneling or?
No, I'm strictly there to hold my wife's bag and
Nice.
look around.
Hey, that's what you're there for. That's what you're good for.
The-
He said
the husband's
bobby
duty.
pins and
That's right.
That's
glue
right.
sticks. Yeah.
You should be getting your shirt. It should come in time, and we'll provide to Mrs. Hot Dog,
Nice. Excuse me, Doctor Hot Dog.
Doctor Hot Dog. Sorry.
Get it right.
Uh,
Today in Comics says like the video. I very much agree with that sentiment. Please do like the video. We appreciate you. All 90 plus of you hanging out with us here on a Saturday morning.
Whoa.
We've got a lot more show to do, so hang in there with us. We've been dropping videos every single day. We've been in your faces every day. We told you the Comics Pals were going all in for the month of October, and thus far we have kept to our word. You are seeing us daily, and what I love to see daily is that you guys are showing up. You're showing up, you're watching those videos, you're participating. We've gotten more comments already in the last 28 days than we have gotten ever before, putting it month up against month. And a big part of that is these daily videos that you guys are eating up. So thank you so much for that. It's been incredible, and we've got a lot more to come.
Y'all are real yappers for real, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been amazing to see. What else did I want to say? Yes. So if you are enjoying all of that, if you've been having fun with us, if you've been having fun today, if you've been watching the daily videos and you want to show your support, there are ways for you to do that. Channel members are seeing these videos early. Whenever we are live, we're not dropping a video, but channel members still get one. So you guys are getting one every day regardless. Channel members also got pen pals, which is going to stay with them. That's going to stay exclusive to you guys. That's our gift. Patreon.com/thecomicspals is the absolute best way to show your support if that's what you want to do. If you want to see us pumping out great content during New York Comic Con, which we're going to do anyway. If you want to see Palling Around, which is an exclusive show that we have over there that comes out every single month. You know, if you want a nickname and a shout out and an origin here on the show, those things and more are all available to you through our Patreon page, patreon.com/thecomicspals. You can also vote in the poll over there for the book club. We tabulated all the possibilities, and it came down to 4 spine-tingling tales of horror and dread from the superhero space. We've got Rot World, which is a New 52 crossover, so staying in that space. The Witching Hour crossover, which I think is not from the New 52, right?
It's
That's,
right after New 52. It's
right.
Tinian
Rebirth, right?
Rebirth. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe. Yeah. It's
It's
a
the
Wonder
cusp.
Woman Justice League Dark crossover.
Yeah.
Oh,
Spine-tingling Spider-Man and Hellblazer. We've got a few choice selections from Hellblazer that were picked out by you guys. So lots of great options. Head on over to our Patreon page to vote. Any supporter at any tier is eligible. So no matter how much you decide you want to support us, we want your vote. So you can make sure to do that.
There's a link in the chat for anybody who's there.
Beautiful, beautiful. And be great if we could get a link to the Discord as well, just to let people know about that, where you should come hang out with us. We're always talking comics. There's a community book club that happens on our Discord, if you can believe that. So lots going on. Now, I have the distinguished honor and privilege of shouting out the aforementioned patrons who show us so much support every single week. A special shout out to our Palsverse legends, Thunderstruck Rebecca Alejandro, the Hound of Justice Atomic Hound, who is in the chat, Starcross Catherine Stars, the Red Spiral Spiral Storm, who is in the chat, Orseus the Waterbound, and Adam and Bernie the Best Boy. Thank you so much. Those are the people who are going above and beyond for us. Thank you. And a special shout out to Palsverse members, The Night Stalker Harris Nijinsky, Brian Demolisher Del Pozo, Catfish the Incorruptible, who is in the chat, Momentum Mike Elliott, who's in the chat, Dan the Truth Trudeau, who is in the chat, Jalen the Sanguine Sorcerer, Marley Manistorm, Slow Flow Dammer, and Christian Uncaged, who is in the chat, always laughing, the Spear of Justice, Izzy's Issues, the Great Destroyer, Hyper Viper 89, Robert Runback Cashaback, Pete the Dreamweaver Collins, who is in the chat, the artist behind the Bardic Verses, who we're going to talk about more in just a moment. Matthew Malice Price, who is in the chat. James Just Jamming Jones. Amin Almighty Perez, who is always in the chat. Paul Powerhouse Smith. Andrew the Galaxian Smith. Neon Knight Cosmic Avenger. Matthew the Shade Cosmo. BJ Kicks, who was on the show. He took it a step above being in the chat. My man was here with us on the panel. Thank you for that. The Living Blade, Boss Run Deer, the Grand Alchemist, Chop Harder Alchemist, who was in the chat, John Barrier B, Simon Galeforce, Garrett Garnett, Todd, Tremor Butler, Cameron Cavernous Gordon, Doomsday, David Melendez, who was in the chat, Cameron Thornton, Steve Canaris, Ryan Redmond, and Panda V Panda Ted, who are all valued members of our Patreon page. Thank you so much.
Damn, yo.
It's amazing how when Sean starts to get out of breath, it also gets more impactful.
This is getting crazy.
A longer draw between each.
Yeah.
I think it's like 38, 39 names now.
Wild.
Yeah. So we appreciate you all so much for that. Darth Lopez says 88 live in the chat. None in the live chat names I recognize from my multiverse.
Wow.
What's your multiverse? What are you talking about? What do you mean? Are you a regular here, Darth Lopez? I don't recall seeing your name. Welcome to the fold. If you are new to us,
Comics Foes is what his podcast is.
The Comics Foes. I like that. Like the Powerpuff Girls have what's their
Rowdy Rough Boys?
Rowdy Rough Boys. Yeah.
Damn. So what do the Comics Foes look like?
I think Bean's on there.
Interesting.
No.
Bean's on there, but the differences between me and Bean are that Bean is rich and nice. Bean is rich and nice.
I would argue our the four of us have a mutual who used to host a rival podcast. He's one of them.
I don't even think for this hypothetical it would get him to do a podcast.
That'd be a good April Fool's bit, though, huh?
Just bring in the Comics Foes.
Don't give me ideas, Sean.
I love giving you ideas, and I love when you execute them because they generally come out really good. What comment? Oh yeah, Spiral Storm says if we could get to 50 patrons. Well, Spiral, those names we shout out are only of 2 specific tiers. We actually have 92 people on the Patreon, so we're 8 away from 100.
Man, we didn't get to celebrate 69. Damn.
That's true. You should always celebrate 69. Darth Lopez says, I'm from the era of Tales from the Flip Side channel.
Whoa. Cool.
I've not heard of that channel. Cool. Good for you. What do you guys talk about over there? I would love to hear about your channel. Let's shout out real quick Pete Collins, who did something really, really cool last week. That was on Pals Pulls, wasn't? No, that was on the main show. Where we talked about me being the LCS sheriff because of my experiences at the LCS and, you know, my propensity for flag waving and, you know, really just wanting to uphold the ethics and virtues of the LCS. So Pete Collins actually posted on our Discord a rendition of me as the LCS sheriff in an effort to get me to actually dress up in this role, you know, for our show, for our Halloween special. So is that on the screen now, Ty? Do we have that?
It's coming. I had it ready for the BJ slide, but hold on one sec.
Okay, yeah, no worries. Yeah, so thank you to Pete. It is incredible. I can't even believe that you did this. Like, I've been drawn into a comic once before, and it ain't, you know, no disrespect at all. This is incredible.
Way better.
Yeah, like wow, you put your whole ass into this, Pete. So thank you.
I think you could pull off a duster, Sean.
I think so too. Yeah.
I'm thinking, what's a duster?
That's the
Like a
that's the
long
long
coat.
jacket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I would love it. I would love to get that, but I don't know how I'm gonna pull this off, guys.
I
I
see
don't
it, dude.
I don't have a gun, so that's an issue.
Any old,
God
Water
doesn't care
pistol.
about his
Star Wars gun,
constitutional
yeah.
rights.
Oh, I thought you guys were gonna say any old pawn shop. I could just go grab a Glock.
I got a guy.
I mean, listen, you remember where I'm from. I know some people.
Fair enough. I do too, as it happens.
My brother got when I was in Utah for his wedding over Christmas. He got his wife like a massive rifle from a pawn shop as a wedding gift.
Hell yeah.
Wow.
Because why it was I listen, I'm a lib from the big city, right? It was the craziest thing I've ever seen,
When in Utah.
I guess.
You saying you don't got that X belt, dude?
There's a hot topic where you
I
can get
don't.
most of this.
There's a what? I'm sorry.
There's a hot topic somewhere out there where you can probably get a good
Yeah.
bunch of this.
Point me in the right direction because I don't know where to get any of this shit. But if I can, I might have to dress up. I might have to. I have my Justice League cards. I've got my cards. I have my flags. I just need a badge and I'm good to go. Marco, the fact that we could even see that today. Look at that.
No.
Trying to show off your janky ass card. You better put that card down. You are not getting deputized, my friend.
Damn.
And I believe
I
you're
got the
holding,
comics.
I believe you're holding a DL-44 blaster from Star Wars in this.
That's Han Solo's gun, right?
Yeah. Han Solo, I think,
Yeah,
has a
yeah.
modified
Oh,
DL-44.
yeah.
Whoa.
Sick.
Yeah.
That's a lot of effort for you to put in there, Pete. Pete Collins, tremendous artist behind the Bardic Verses. It's a great book. I have my copy. And in fact, it sold out the day it came out at my LCS. So that goes to show you that you guys should own a copy as well. Can they go to thebardicverses.com and get that, Pete? Share the plug, man. You deserve it. Let us know how we can support you guys, and we'll put that out there for you.
Was this the same shop, Sean, that had a signing for the book?
I don't think there was a signing for the book. For the Bardic Verses?
No, sorry, for Absolute. Sorry, I thought you were talking about Absolute sold out. Okay.
Oh no, they sold out of the Bardic Verses.
Hell yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah. I was there with Matt Sumo, the writer. We happened to run into each other. That was the same day that the guy told me he wasn't a violent guy. That same day, I was talking to Matt because he came to the shop to get a copy of the Bardic Verses to see it in the wild, and it was already sold out. I had gotten the last copy.
Holy cow.
It's kind of a good feeling, even though you kind of wanted to get your own copy. You know, like, yeah.
That's what he said, yeah.
Yeah.
It was like bittersweet type deal. Comics Are Dope says, can you carry a gun in NYC? You definitely can't. And I'm not a jeweler, so they're not giving me a special
Balls.
yeah, they're not giving me a special right to have a gun. So I'll be gunless. Real guns, maybe not, but a blaster, you better watch out. Better watch out. If I have to throw these bad boys up at you, a blaster might be in your future at the LCS.
Specifically
Heard that
the
right.
LCS.
If Sean doesn't like what you're doing at the LCS, he's going to blast you. With what? I don't know.
You better recognize.
Oh, you're doing a finger blast. You're going to finger blast them. Got it.
Whoa.
Yes.
Got it. Cool.
No real blasters allowed.
Yep. If you go to a comic book shop, Sean will finger blast you.
You heard it here first.
A lost art, I'd say.
Unbelievable. If you've got a comment you want to make sure we see, send it through again, man, because there's a lot of you chatting out there. It's hard to keep up with. But
Yeah, I sent through a link to a Band of Bards, so if you're looking for the Bardic Verses, you should be able to order through there.
sick, awesome. We've got a little bit of time. You guys want to play a game?
Oh yeah.
All right.
Beautiful. All right.
Comment. BJ said, and back to the headphones.
That wasn't me. I didn't say anything wrong.
I don't know.
I was blasting fools.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
Wasn't me. All right, so here's the game. I'm going to throw out a prompt, and you guys have to answer honestly. This prompt came to me in a dream. So don't ask me. It's not random. All right. We're not going back to that well. Speaking of going back to the well,
It's
we're not bringing back bad bits.
You caught me.
It's the
Thank
Joker,
you.
Joker 2 method. Came to you in a dream.
Right, yeah. What two characters from Marvel or DC would you most like to go out on a date with? And what is the outcome of the date? Now, you have to choose the caveat. They can be from whichever publisher, but you have to choose two people of two different genders. You cannot just choose a woman. You cannot just choose men. You can choose non-binary, whatever, but they have to be two different genders.
Easy.
I know mine easy too.
Yeah, MJ, first of all, out the gate.
He?
Sorry?
Oh, Mary Jane.
No, she. Now, where do you go? What do you want to do with her?
Yep.
I know what you want to do
Yeah,
with her.
don't.
But where
Yeah, I
are
don't
you
wanna,
taking
it's not
her?
that kind of show.
Where is she consenting to you taking her? And what is the outcome of the date?
This is a wet dream.
We're going to a nice Italian place. You know,
Okay.
we're gonna we'll start off with everybody's favorite place. We're everyone's family. Regino's down on 6th and Little Italy. You know, just glass of wine, chit chat, maybe hit up a bar right afterwards. It's a good conversation. And then first date, respectful. You know, it's about the vibe. It's about getting to know you, and working to understand who you are as a person, where your values, and you know, and MJ, she has her modeling business. You know, she's doing that, respected, and she's a woman with a job. And you know, you gotta love that stuff. And she wants kids at the end of the day, and I think I could be a good father. So
I
you know,
think I
that'll
could
be the
put one in her.
conversation.
Ay. Wow. No, not the point of this bit, by the way.
Marco wants to be Chad Paul.
And there's precedent there, and that's where I was gonna lean to, was there's precedent there. That's not always Peter. I have a chance.
It's not, guys, listen, it's not always Peter.
Sometimes it's Paul. So who's your second pick?
Aquaman, and you know what? He's a king. He's gonna
wet?
take
He's pre-wet.
little slippery. And you know, I think I can go someplace, and this is the one where I'm gonna be the toxic one. We're gonna go to someplace like super expensive because I know he can afford it. He got that Atlantean gold.
Dude's paying in scallops.
and he's taking me out, right? So I'm getting the hanger steak. I'm getting all the sides, starting with
Do
big
you know your
appetizers.
steaks, Marco? You're going for a hanger?
Yeah, dude.
There's better cuts you can go for.
I would have done the tomahawk, but I feel like that's a little excessive.
No, you got a big dog and we got a salmon or some kind of fish. Like,
And I'm getting the lobster, dude. I'm gonna eat it in front of him. And then, you know, talk about our jobs and shit. I'm just there for the dinner, you know. It's my toxic era. And I guess find out how wet he gets.
Okay, first of all, that's disgusting. But second of all, you meet up with a guy who is the Prince of Atlantis, who lives underwater, member of the Justice League, and you want to talk about your job. What a basic ass bitch. Holy shit.
Marco's looking for he's in his wallet, like, oh, you know, just being real slow with it too.
Yeah. Oh, my card's in here somewhere. Oh, no, you don't have to do that. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah. Oh, so
Oh my
kind.
God.
Such
All
a
right.
gentleman.
Mine's easy.
Tyler.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got mine. Mine is just I'm at a bar and I see a Black Canary and a Green Arrow, and they're like, "Hey, we like your vibe." That's all there is. That's all there is to those two characters. I feel like they are like we saw you from across the bar. We like your vibe type couple. They got upside down pineapples inside the the arrow
At the
cave.
tiki bar.
Yeah,
They're
it's
at the
probably
tiki bar.
it's probably at a tiki bar too. Yeah, that seems like Oliver Queen's business.
And what's the outcome of the date?
He said it.
I
upside
wake
down
up and
pineapple,
question
bro.
a lot of things.
Okay. All right. Cale?
I'm rephrasing mine. I realized the danger in mine when I uh I'm gonna mine is easy. Nightwing and Barbara Gordon.
Hmm.
But it's one of their sort of cozy night in scenarios. Because I'm not going out, and they're not night people anyway, or they work at night, I guess is the better word.
Right.
for it.
Yeah, they're busy.
Yeah. And so, the last thing they want to do is be out on the town. And look, the last thing I want to do is be out on the town. So it ends, they're going out. That's on them.
So basically, it ends with you going home and.
No,
Just how I like it.
he's staying to watch the dog. He's dog sitting.
All right. I have my two. My first answer is Bruce Wayne. Now, I am going out with Bruce Wayne. He is taking me to a very, very, very expensive restaurant. I've got a few in mind. I want to go to, but I think we're going to have to catch a flight. So we're going to jump on the private jet.
Damn.
I mean, he's Bruce Wayne. He's going to see the spring for it. We're going to jump on the private jet and we're going to head over to the Chop House in New Orleans. I'm going to get me a big old steak because that's how I roll. I want a boy that doesn't cost any less than $100. That's what I need. I need $100 and up steak. I'm getting 2 orders of fries. I'm getting appetizers galore. He's footing the bill. All right.
Easy.
And I ain't
He's
playing
what?
footsie
He's
with
what
him
in the bill?
either. He's footing the bill.
Okay.
Footing. And yeah, maybe I'll fumble with my wallet a little bit. Maybe I'll do one of these here. Oh man, I got a 5. You need a 5? I got
A moth flies out.
I can leave the tip.
yeah. I'll leave the tip for you if you want. And he's gonna say, no, Sean, don't worry about that. I got it. I'm Bruce Wayne. In fact, I own the restaurant.
Yeah.
Then, you know what we're gonna do after that? I planned the date, by the way. He's just going along with it. We're gonna catch a movie. We're gonna catch a late night film. We're gonna go to the theater. We're gonna catch a film. It's a great movie. It's called Zorro.
Damn.
Knew it.
And then the night ends with me tied up.
The night ends with a pearl necklace.
Yep.
Game over. Game over.
Where's the red flag? Where's the red flag?
I ain't looking for that, bro.
We said tied up.
I mean, I just appreciate
Holy
you helping Bruce rebrand his image for the media. Got to rebrand when you're a celebrity every so often, and that's the end thing. So,
My second choice, who else could it be but Jean Grey? We're going nowhere. We are going to stay in the house in our room, or in her room, and she's going to psychically take me around the world. And we're going to explore each other's minds as we explore the world together from the comfort of her home. And then Wolverine's going to barge in.
Whoa.
he doesn't need to barge in. The door is open. Like he's got his own door.
True. He's gonna make his presence known. And I heard he has 2 dicks. So I'm out.
And then Cyclops barges in.
I
Starts
want
crying.
no parts of that. I'm not Paul. I'm not messing with the wives of people like Cyclops and Wolverine. I could get my ass beat.
Oh, wait, you're leaving so early? We're putting on a movie, getting candles ready.
This is like that one issue of Black Panther where he was going up against a Psycho Man, and Psycho Man makes him think that he's gonna like hook up with Storm because this is when he was with Storm, and instead he barges in on an X-Men orgy, and then he like goes to like Emma Frost kisses him, and instead Bass shows up and she's like pissed off. It's a weird bit, but this seems like a mess. Like you're getting into X-Men and you're like you don't realize what you're getting into.
Aaron Ruiz says, "Got no flags, but I give you 3 red cards. You're out."
What do you mean? Who would you choose, Aaron? Come on now. We're just having a bit of fun. Steve Matthews says no one's brave enough to have a date with the Hulk. No, because if the date goes too well, he's gonna Hulk out, and I ain't with it.
New meanings of Hulk smash.
Oof.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
She-Hulk, maybe.
He's got
The
the.
Hulk, yes.
He also has to clap, right? He's well, not. Sorry.
Unbelievable.
Sorry.
Oh, Aaron Ruiz said his are Death from Marvel and Dream. We will play fighting games, and if I win, I can wish for a peaceful end to your life.
Hell yeah!
Or
I'd
to
dig this.
that interaction.
I mean, smart either way.
Yeah.
Yo,
Fair
CW
enough.
Gordon, Cyclops person, but then Emma joins.
Nah, dude. Oh man.
It's too
Oh,
much.
if Emma walked in with them half gloves. See,
Yeah.
then Jean's gonna turn into the Phoenix because now I'm paying more attention to Emma than Jean. I don't want to
Mad-
be involved in
Mad
that.
about that.
This is why you don't hook up with your coworkers. This is this is what happens.
That's fair. That's why Cale and Marco haven't gotten it done yet.
That's
You
right.
don't know that. He came over here.
Yeah, but your wife wasn't letting that happen.
I think you'd be very surprised at what my wife would let happen.
Can we talk about that?
No. What happens in my bedroom is none of your business.
All right, fair enough. Well, this is all of our business. James Tynan is doing big business. He has signed a deal with the Random House imprint Inklore. He has inked a deal with Inklore to release the Empire of the Tiny Onion series of books, or from the mind of James Tynan. They've signed a 12-book deal. 3 of them, or rather comprising of 3 original graphic novel series. So I get the idea that it's a 12-book deal, 3 new worlds, and each will have a set of novels that will release in it, graphic novels. The first one is called The Most Beautiful People Who Never Loved Me, which is going to release in 2028. 2028.
Wow.
The first one is releasing in
The
2028,
first.
and these are these comics or books?
These are graphic novels.
Graphic novels. Okay. I mean, well, he's got time.
Is there, excuse me, is there a, I mean, I guess besides the hype factor of it all, is there a reason we're talking about this now?
Us
That's-
or them?
4 years away. Them, I guess. Like,
I've been struggling a little bit with that too. Like, it's a very, very early announcement.
Yeah.
I guess they just want to get the buzz out there, but you're getting me buzzed for something that's not happening for 4 years. That's kind of nuts.
And it's not even a press release; it's an announcement, which is the key, because a press release
Yeah.
would have some form of something to show. This is just a super early announcement, which I guess Inklore is relatively new in terms of like the graphic novel space.
I don't know that I've heard of Inklore before this, but they're under Random House.
Yeah.
So Random House obviously, publishes or what's the word I'm looking for? Distributes Marvel books. Penguin Random House does.
Yeah.
So they've got their hands in every cookie jar at this point.
I wonder if this isn't like, hey, we're making this announcement. We're trying to look for investment. It's so far out that they're like, yo, hey, this is great, but realistically, we don't have the budget to put out 3 volumes, and so that's why we have to wait all the way till 28. Other people look at the buzz, look what we got, look, invest now and see your returns in X amount of time. That, because 4 years, dude, that's crazy.
Marco, does this last line in the announcement here on the article, does this do anything for you?
Recently, seed money.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm thinking. The seed money to help start this, right? So then this is going to be a secondary kind of investment to try to build up some kind of capital for this because they have to last 4 years until the release of this book to see
Yeah.
No,
returns.
no. This says James Tynion launched Tiny Onion in 2021 as he left the Batman comic books and recently got seed money from Lyrical Media to expand their operations. That what they're talking about is Tiny Onion. Those operations. He got money to further what he's doing, with that company.
Hmm.
But this is a separate thing from that.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. I think that that's what this might be. Still, like Incolor, is trying to raise some kind of capital off the back of Tinion's name, Tinion's name.
Yeah, I mean, this dude is busy, and I'm really happy for him from the perspective of, get your bag, and obviously there's big money in this kind of deal, and he's really trying to stake a claim for himself as sort of the premier writer of non Big Two comics, and I think he's doing a really good job at that right now. 4 years is really far away to get hype behind something. Nobody has been talking about this announcement other than Bleeding Cool, really. So that's kind of interesting to me that the industry isn't speaking on this. The biggest reason why is that this isn't about the industry of comics. It is a comic book line that he's putting out, but it doesn't feel direct market focused.
And there's also no press release for it. Like it's an announcement for something that might not even come to fruition.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Who knows if this
No tangible
follows through?
bit,
Well,
yeah.
who knows if this follows through? And he has so many other, you irons in the fire. This might even fold into that.
I don't know. I don't feel like there's a reason to think this won't come out.
No, but I think it's, I do think it's safe to assume that, there is like a possibility that it could. Not that it won't, but it's so far in the future that like who knows what'll happen.
Yeah.
Is sort of I think the point.
Yeah, we'll see. 4 years from now, Tynan could be, he might not be the same name that he is now. Could be much bigger, could be smaller. We don't know. It's a long time to wait.
4 years ago from now, we thought we'd be seeing a Blade movie. Like things happen.
Guess we did.
Had a pandemic.
Exactly. People always forget that part.
Could have another.
Yeah, that's technically true. So what else is true is that JMS is solidifying his return to Marvel. He's been dipping his toes in the Marvel water lately. He's solidifying that with a return to an old concept. Sort of a like almost Marvel 2-in-1-ish type of deal, where he's going to be pairing up very strange character interactions together to get very potentially interesting results. So these are all the ones that we have announced that are going to be coming out next year. This starts in January, this whole new initiative and idea. So Doctor Doom and Rocket Raccoon as one of the pairings. It's going to be JMS with art by Will Robson and a cover from Gary Frank. So that's kind of interesting. The premise is Doom does the one thing he never wants to do, ask for a favor. What awaits Rocket in Latveria? Mischief, miscommunication, and an emotional journey across space and time in the mighty Marvel way. The image they have here is Doom and Rocket sharing a pint.
Silly. It's cute. And
I've-
that's kind of the reaction I'm getting at face value is, oh, these are cute. Looking at some of the at the list, I'm glad it's coming sooner rather than later. But looking at the list, I think they have some good pairings with artists, and that's going to be more of a draw for me. Juan Ferreira, Peralta, out on Phil Noto. But otherwise, I think this doesn't initially get a big pop from me.
Well, let me get through the rest of the announcements before we give our thoughts on all these books. Captain America and Volstagg #1. The art's by Bernard Chang, cover by Terry Dodson. Man, I love Bernard Chang, but that cover made me believe that Terry was going to be doing the interiors, and the fact that he's not is a bit of a bummer. Go ahead.
In Volstagg, a character that JMS wrote exceptionally well in the store run.
Sure, yeah.
Yep.
Nick Fury and Nick Fury versus Fin Fang Foom, with art by Elena Casagrande.
Yeah, hell yeah.
That's cool as hell. And then Hulk and Doctor Strange with a backup story featuring Aunt May and Agatha Harkness. That's crazy. The art's by German Peralta.
What, are they playing bingo?
Yeah, like
center?
what? Well, Agatha's not old in the comics.
That's
anymore.
true. That's true.
And all they got to do is de-age Aunt May to Marissa Tomei, and you got gal pals.
Marissa Tomei and Catherine Hahn. I'm in.
That's what I'm saying.
You could have a night on the town that I would want to see. And then the last couple are Ghost Rider versus Galactus. Okay. That's Juan Ferreira on art. And then Spider-Man versus Dr. Octopus with art by Phil Noto. That's the only one that's pretty like straightforward. We get this all the time.
Yeah.
That was my first reaction, was like Marvel's strangest pairings ever. And then I see Spider-Man versus Dr. Octopus. I'm like, nah, I'm out. This is what? You could have had some much more fun there.
Random.
All Terry Dodson covers.
They're not all.
They're not all Dodson. No, Gary Frank did the Rocket
and
Raccoon Doctor Doom
Nick
one,
Fury,
and I
yeah.
think the Nick Fury one is also Gary Frank.
Yeah, it says it here.
Yup. This announcement. So JMS has been back at Marvel doing little things here and there. Most recently, he's been on the Captain America series, which is coming to an end, but it's still going. I have not been a big fan of that series. I tried it. I read the first 12 issues or 11 issues or whatever, and I liked it at first, but it fell off for me. Do you care to see JMS's tour through the Marvel Universe in this way?
No. So I'm a JMS fan. I do like his Thor run is what got me into Marvel Comics mostly. Like that's one of my preeminent runs of comics that really solidified my fandom. But I don't like the way this is being branded. Like, I'm sorry, but JMS just isn't a name as much as he used to be. And branding this as J. Michael Straczynski's stuff, like even the trade dressing on it, just has a font. Like, it's the most bland trade dressing I've ever seen on a comic. Like, I don't know why this couldn't be branded Marvel 2-in-1, a known quantity. JMS's Marvel 2-in-1. Like, I don't really like the way it's being sold. And the pairings aren't the most exciting for me. I'll probably check it out depending on which pairing comes out at any time. Like the Nick Fury versus Fin Fang Foom one is actually interesting to me. That could be fun, especially with Casagrande on art. But I'm not too jazzed about the whole way it's being presented. Like it just seems like not a very modern take on it. Like JMS is just, he means something to me, but the average reader probably not anymore.
I will check them out. I can't say how long I would stick around. This short run on each one is, I don't know, I think the novelty could wear off depending on how good it is. And if one doesn't hit, to be honest, that's a series forgotten. And I don't know, I'm not as against it as Tyler. Like I like the trade dressing, but I just it's not. I just don't know how interested I am in it.
I'm fairly excited about this. Like, I like JMS a lot. I think right now what I would want from him is sort of bite-sized stuff, because the Captain America stuff just hasn't really hit for me, but it did at first. So if it was shorter, I probably would have liked it more. If it was 7 issues, then I would have had a lot of fun with it, because that's about when I stopped having fun with it. Um,
Hmm.
so I'm into the idea of seeing him do these shorter form things. And then I also really like the idea that we're going to see him get to play with so many different artists that he has yet to work with. So that's a lot of fun. And we're going to get to see these artists work with characters that they might not always get to touch, which is also a lot of fun. So for me, there's a lot here to like. I'm interested in the mixing of characters. I'll probably buy just about every one of these, if I'm being honest.
Okay. Yeah. Is there one that really stands out with artist?
Uh, I think I think I'm probably the most excited to see Elena Casagrande.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
Yeah. Nick Fury versus Fing Fang Foom is also bugged out. Like, I don't know what that means, but I'll see it. Sure, why not?
Yeah.
That's kind of the one that's not to be a stereotype of myself, but that's kind of the one that's got me too.
Yeah. Aaron Ruiz says, I would have been hyped if it was Ewing. He's known for having Marvel lore in the palm of his hand and trust him to do weird stuff. Yeah. Al Ewing would be a shoe-in for this, but I think Al is on his way out of Marvel.
It seems
Yeah.
like it. Yeah.
I don't, and to be honest, I don't blame him. And not even whatever sort of background issues you can conjure up or have heard rumors about, but I feel like he's had a pretty decent time to have sort of a statement at Marvel. And especially with his his Ant-Man and Wasp and the other series that came out sort of around that, I kind of feel like he's touched every corner for the most part.
Yeah, which is cool. Like, I
Yeah.
like that. Marowak Oscuro says, I think he'll pick up amazing now that we know that JR is continuing.
JMS.
Yeah, right. I don't think that they're going to hand over the
Yeah.
reins to JMS for Spider-Man. I have a hard time believing he would want that after what he went through the last time. Seems like a far reach. Although that could have also been a joke that you were making, in which case, very funny. Silhouette says, the thing is, Ewing never got given the top tier titles at Marvel. They tried, man. They gave him New Avengers after Secret Wars,
Mhm.
and I thought that was like, oh shit, like they're giving Ewing, the big job. And it wasn't that. And I think, to be fair, it probably wasn't thought of as that by them, but it wasn't a hit. It wasn't a hit, and I didn't think it was very good. And after that, I feel like Ewing ended up in the position of getting books that are interesting and good, but not top tier. I don't know if he'll ever get that shot, but I think he deserves it. Might not want it.
That too. Yeah.
I think especially after his event, Empire, I don't think that went over very well, and
That's right.
I can't imagine him wanting to tackle that again.
Yeah. Bring the name over to DC.
That doesn't feel like his strength anyway.
Yeah.
Although I would kill to see him on like a major title, like, give him Spider-Man. Let me see what that looks like. Give him Batman. Let me see what that looks like.
He goes through the Spider-Verse.
Batman?
Batman into the Spider-Verse. That sounds like some shit that would release in China, or that you would walk into a random store and see a toy of that. Like,
Yeah.
No,
A flea market. Yeah.
yeah.
That's the bootleg DVD in the middle of Brian Park's the orange line, that tunnel there.
Yeah.
It's like it'd be like Batman into the Spider-Verse, but the toy is actually a Swamp Thing toy.
Yeah.
Like that
Yeah.
type of deal.
Just paint it over different colors.
Yeah, exactly. Love it. Pete Collins says fan booking Al Ewing and George Jimenez on Justice League. I'll direct deposit my paycheck to DC. Woo!
You try that again?
What?
Al Ewing and Jorge Jimenez on what?
Oh, Green Lantern. Sorry, Green Lantern.
Oh,
Yeah.
what did he say?
I said Justice
He
League.
said
Oh.
Justice League. Alan says, at least there's no mention on the next Gwen Stacy and Norman Osborn quote, team up.
No, I'm all in on that.
Yikes. Yeah, me too.
I really enjoyed that. I like Sins Past.
Same. Sorry,
Yeah.
nerds.
Speaking of nerds, hey nerds, after this show wraps, we are going to spend a little more time with you. We are going to go live for our channel members, which we've done before. I think we did it back in July. We're going to do it again today, right after this ends. If you want to spend a little more time with your boys, we're going to be going live again exclusively for our channel members. So it's a great thing that we ourselves gave out 10, and then Gavin and Amin together gave out 10. So 20 new channel members just today. You guys are going to get to use that channel membership today to watch us talk a little bit more about Absolute Batman, respond directly to you guys about Absolute Batman, and anything else you want to talk about. Maybe a little bit more New York Comic-Con talk. We can talk to you guys about our prep, what we're thinking is going to happen. Whatever you want, it's about you guys.
It's cool that Marco gets to actually watch that live. Now that he's a channel member.
Oh, that he's a channel member. Yeah, of course.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm super excited. Yeah, I can't wait to be there. You know,
we
I
devoted
really wanna,
Marco to a viewer.
Really want to hear what you guys talk about.
Dex says, isn't that the absolute Green Lantern team? No. We've heard for sure about Al Ewing being the writer, but I don't recall if we know who the artist is.
We have art. We have art.
We
for
do.
it. Yeah.
We do have concept art, but I don't recall who the actual artist is behind that. Janoy Lindsay. Thank you, Manny. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And it did look good for what it's worth.
Sojourner on it.
Yeah, so that's pretty hype. So yeah, don't forget, guys, after this, we will be live once again for our channel members. If you want to be a part of that, click the join button on this live video, and you will be able to hang out with us after the fact. Let's skip what we were going to talk about next, and let's talk Absolute DC a little bit before we cut out of here, because we've got order numbers, and this is critical for our podcast.
Yeah.
This is critical knowledge, so we need to put it out here.
Absolutely.
We'll explain why it's critical in just a moment. But reported again by Rich Johnson over at Bleeding Cool, we have the estimated orders for each of these books. So I misspoke earlier when I said Absolute Batman sold 250. Well, maybe not. It says well over 200,000 in this article. I believe I've seen the number 250 quoted. I want to say I saw it by Scott himself, but either way, it's over 200K, so that's a beautiful thing. What we're looking at for Absolute Wonder Woman is 150,000. It's around there. Big number for Wonder Woman. Big number for Diana. But for Absolute Superman, we are looking at a number around 180,000 copies.
Ooh.
Don't like that.
Cale, gonna have to
Don't
buy
like that.
30,001.
I think just buying the trade is a better investment for Cale and just eating his pride.
Well, the reason why they're spotlighting Cale right now is because Cale's embroiled in a major bet with a
Yeah, that's right.
listener of our show that you hear shouted out every single week named Kefis, who said that Absolute Superman would receive more orders, more sales than Absolute Wonder Woman. Cale said no, Absolute Wonder Woman would top Superman. So, Cale, now that we have these orders in, these estimates in, to be fair, are you conceding?
Listen, no. Because these are estimates. And these are orders. The bet is on sales. So we've got time. The fans are going to come in. They're going to see the majesty that Kelly Thompson and Hayden Sherman have to show us the Hades level arcade grittiness that they're going to give us in this story. Forget Jason Aaron. Been there, done that. we are gonna rule the school in Absolute Wonder Woman and the sales.
This is some Fantastic Four Blade levels of coping.
Listen, I don't know what you want. Superman's old hat. You give him a mop top, it doesn't make him interesting.
If you thought in any world that comics fans would buy a book starring a woman written by a woman over Superman, I'm sorry.
I'll give you this. She's got a big sword.
Oh, yeah.
That got her up probably another 25K, but not enough.
That's a lot.
I'm normally the guy to say, "Hey, I don't give up for shit." I don't care until it's clear. It's one of them times, man. It's one of them times because the estimates are pretty good, and unless we're talking about, waiting for additional printings, which I don't think was included in your guys' bet, this is probably going to end up being right around what it is because the orders are what stores will have. So that's it.
Well, hold on. That brings up an interesting wrinkle. It's total sales. I mean, Batman's going back for a third printing already. So
Yeah.
that's gonna add
We'll have
up.
to look. We'll have to look at the terms. I feel like it was just first printing though.
I'm
was
pretty
it?
confident it was. And if it
Yeah.
wasn't, how long do we wait to call the bet? Because there could be
Yeah.
who knows how many printings.
I feel like it was first printing.
So if it's first print, this is it. The bet is over.
We'll see how many sell. How many
It's
sell.
it's not over.
Yeah,
Hey,
we'll see how many
listen,
sell.
it ain't over. It ain't over till the fat lady sings.
Okay.
I can't pushing the thing away.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
We don't need you.
Fair enough, man. So then that means we're gonna wait. We're gonna be waiting until some point in November because Absolute Superman drops in November. So we'll see some sales figures, loose figures from Bleeding Cool at that point. And I guess we'll have to go with that.
Has any of the Comics Pals heads here, four of us, ever won a bet against a listener?
There have been only 3 listener bets, first of all. One of mine is pending. I haven't lost or won. It's still very much in play. And the other was disrupted by COVID. What the fuck do you want from me?
Disrupted by
if any listener here wants to hit any of these pals where they can't say no to a bet, the stats are in your favor.
And I'll also point out it's one bad apple.
He's not even
It's
here
only-
right now either.
Yeah, that's how you know he's a bad apple.
Catfish
Anyway.
just keeps beating our ass.
He's got it, dude. He knows it. He knows how to gamble.
Well, Cale, someone wants to help you because the chief is here with us. And the chief says, how much lower is she? Let me pull some strings and get her up there. Well, the chief, she's 30,000 orders under. So if you have strings that you can pull to bridge that gap, can we be best friends?
Tilo has a good point. Final order cutoff is done for Wonder Woman as well.
That's all right. That's all right. They're gonna have issues in the shops. People gonna show up for Wonder Woman. And you know what? More importantly, they're gonna show up for their old best pal Cale. They're gonna show up for the old hot dog.
Okay, you're gonna have to campaign for people to go pick up Wonder Woman.
I'll get a shirt. Don't even think. I'll get Marco to get me a shirt. Don't worry.
It's coming.
Aaron Ruiz says, didn't the director from Blade just recently get off the project? Give it up, Sean. Aaron, you're a longtime listener. Who do you think you're talking to? You think I'm going to give up just because the director left? Who cares? The bet's not about the director. The bet is about one man. Just one man. Mahershala Ali. That's it. If he's on the project, I'm still in the game. I'm still in the bet.
Sean hasn't given up Monstrous, let alone something that has stakes to it.
Yeah. I'm paying for Monstrous and I don't read it. You think I'm going to give up a bet where I could win something? Why would I do that? Atomic Count says, is Chief secretly Marie Javins? Maybe. They're just
I
going
hope
by
so.
Chief right now. Dan Trudeau says, the lesson, if you're going to bet on something, make sure it's against Sean. Hey, why is this turning on me? My bet is secure. Like I'm still in the mix. Kefis isn't any closer to winning the bet than I am. Cale's bet is a different matter. I would say the goose is cooked, but that's
No.
just me. I'm
No.
not the better. I have no say.
Ways of the Sith says it best. Hot dogs for Wonder Woman. Hot dogs. Hot dogs for Wonder Woman. Get your hot dogs.
You're going to have to do a lot. You want to talk about going to an LCS, you're going to have to go to a lot of LCSs and pass out a lot of hot dogs to sell those Wonder Woman copies.
What's
Ain't scare me.
such a bad thing to eat while you're eating comics too. That's all grease on your hands. There's mustard everywhere.
Ooh.
You need a
You gotta go with those
utensil.
little grubby fingers on it, like flipping through the one that's
Yeah.
not bent.
Yeah,
What kind of hot dogs do you guys eat?
grilled.
Grease?
Dirty water dogs.
Well, that's different. That's not grease.
I just picture that big glop of ketchup falling down on the copy and Wonder Woman poking out of the cover and saying, "Oh, you guys ever see that commercial?" For the no, never mind. All right, fine. There's a commercial.
I don't watch
Pete,
commercials.
go ahead.
I was gonna say Tyler's the one with the commercial bits. I don't know.
Pete Collins, welcome to the VI Pal channel membership. Thank you so much, Pete. Really appreciate that. You have done enough. You have done more than your fair share, but thank you all the
You
same.
have done enough.
Cole said, we're already getting the Better Blade movie. Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan doing Sinners. Don't bring that up, man. That movie looks fire, though.
Yeah, it does.
Oh,
Yeah.
woo. I'm going to be center seat, boy. I can't wait till they put them things on sale. March, you're going to find me right there. You get Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan together for a new joint. The third person you can expect to see is me. Love it. CW says, well, if people get their Wonder Woman copies dirty, they'll just have to buy more. This is a great plan, Cale.
This is like the Condiment King coming up for a plan in Gotham.
Right.
Like, not that great.
Hey, but if it works, then it's great.
Spoiler, never worked for him.
And also, that's going to get people to hate on us. Cale's running around the LCS in a Comics Pals t-shirt, spilling mustard and ketchup on people.
You're going to need to finger
No,
blast
no,
Cale.
no. No, thank you. Interesting. No. I'm not squaring mustard on nothing unless you want a hot dog. Then you get mustard on your hot dog. What happens to said mustard on the hot dog after? Not my business. But maybe you should buy a second copy of Absolute Wonder Woman. Keep your stuff safe.
But that doesn't
Just in
affect the
case.
sales numbers. Like isn't that based on store orders? Like
Yes.
we never get full sales numbers. Like that's not a number we get.
Not anymore. Not anymore. Those days are long gone. So basically, Cale's saying he won't concede, so he's going to hitch his wagon to the only real reporting we get of point of sale numbers, which comes from Bleeding Cool, a website that Cale has suspect trust in, but will, in this instance, put his full backing behind that reporting.
Typical politician.
Didn't we say the numbers had to come from ICV?
Does ICV2 they do point of sale as
Or is
well,
it
don't they?
Comicron?
Yeah,
yes,
they
yes,
do.
they do. Yes.
'Cause,
So
yeah, you're right. I ain't trusting Bleeding Cool. They're farming out this shit.
but
No way.
ICV2's I think is more infrequent. It might be monthly. It might be monthly.
They have
yeah.
a monthly one.
Yeah, I always see the Bleeding Cool one, but I certainly see the ICV2 one as well. So we'll be getting that reporting probably in the November, December range. More likely December. So you're going to push this bit back to December and take your L in the cold. All right.
To be fair, he could push it back a year because that first trade ain't coming out for Absolute Comics for a while.
No, but the only question mark is which person's going to have to buy the copy.
And it'll be a copy of Absolute Batman, of course. The top seller.
Indeed. Mushaboom 90. Welcome to the Comics Pal Sidekick. Hope you enjoy your emojis, your custom badge, and the fact that in just a few minutes you're going to be able to hang out with us over in another live stream that we're about to jump into that is exclusive for channel members. Love to see you guys getting yourself situated to hang out with us even more. You guys are nuts. This podcast, for those of you who know, this podcast is for the sickos. How about that?
Yeah.
The girls that get it. You know what I mean if you know. The Watcher says, which other absolute title are you guys most excited for? Question for chat and panel. For me, the answer is definitely Absolute Wonder Woman.
Yeah, 100%.
Wonder Woman, and then the upcoming Green Lantern and Flash.
Oh, the Flash one for sure. Yeah, and honestly, issue 2 of Absolute Batman.
So from the announced ones, Wonder Woman for me, but the rumored Martian Manhunter one by Dennis Camp, if that is real,
It's pretty much. I'm pretty hyped for the whole line, but
Yeah.
Superman. To be honest.
yeah, honestly.
You guys are doing Superman so dirty. You're doing Jason Aaron dirty. You're doing Rafa Sandoval dirty. That book is gonna cook.
Listen,
sure it'll
I've
do
seen what Aaron cooks, and I have to tell you, I'm not impressed. I'm not going to that restaurant, and I'm a guy that runs dirty hot dog water on the street corner.
He
Do you
knows.
have
He
dirt-
knows quality.
Do you have dirty water dogs in like London, I guess? Is that a
No.
thing? Or is it like dirty water
Don't be
bangers?
crazy.
Called bratwurst over there.
That's Germany, Marco.
That covers fire. I cannot wait to have. I want to get that, and hopefully Dan Panosian's variant, I can get that as well. Shit. Look at this, guys.
Panosian's doing a signing at New York Comic Con for Midtown Comics booth.
Oh,
That's nice.
if I can. I mean, if I'm not busy doing our stuff. I got this, chat. So just so you know, I put my money where my mouth is. I support. How much of my $20 is going to the LCS is probably none, but it is what it is. What are you gonna do? All right. We're gonna get out of here because we're gonna be going live again in a few short minutes to chat with our channel members about Absolute Batman. You know, we can talk about New York Comic Con. We can talk about anything you guys want. We'll answer any questions. Probably figure we'll be doing it for like about 30 minutes or so. A little quick catch up with you guys. The next time we will be live with you is this Wednesday for Pals Pulls. Make sure you set your watch to that because if you show up on Thursday, you won't see your boys. So be here on Wednesday for Pals Pulls. And make sure you smash the like button. Be subscribed to the channel if you're not. Those are important, vital ways of supporting what we do if you want to see us grow. Those are huge growth metrics here on YouTube. So help us out on that front.
We got a last second 5 spot from Dex Baker. He says, sickos for comics, sickos for wrestling, sickos for soap operas.
That is me, bro. That describes me to a T. You get me some comics, you put wrestling on, and then let me go to sleep watching soap operas. I'm in heaven.
Sean Bartley, certified sicko.
Oh, you don't even know.
Good night. Sounds like a good night.
Hell yeah. And also thanks to Terexis D, who just became a Comics Pal sidekick. Thank you so much for joining the channel membership. Really love to see you guys doing that. We've got a lot of stuff coming for you all. So you are making a very good decision, I would say. CW Gordon, what's being reviewed on Pals Pools? Well, since you asked so nicely, I will fix myself to tell you right now. So on this week's episode of Pals Pulls, we're going to be talking about Ultimate Spider-Man number 10, Uncanny X-Men number 4, Mystique number 1, Batman and Robin Year 1 number 1, and I have Action Comics 1071 on here, but that could change. That's subject to change. But all the rest are pretty locked in. So it should be a pretty good episode, I think.
I know it's weekly. Jeez, Lou. Can we
Exactly.
just read that? Woof.
It's literally $4.99 a week. Shit, man. You could do a lot with $4.99 a week.
This economy?
Yeah, dude. Jesus. But all right. Thank you, guys. Make sure to tune in for all of our New York Comic Con content that's coming soon. We appreciate you joining us. We'll see you in the next one.